Ready.
And we're live. Hello and welcome to Game Theory Gang, episode 139. I'm Matty Allen with ChrispyMan of Hexfire.io,
That's
Kareem,
me.
and Fast Abdul. Welcome.
Bang, bang. What's up, everybody?
Chop, chop.
So I know we've got our special guest that'll be joining us tonight, the founder of PulseSwap.io. First off, I wanted to say a huge thank you to a couple of Hexicans that helped me out with an emergency this week. And I traveled to Texas, and they were extremely generous and hospitable, and really, I think, embody what it means to be a Hexican. And so, yeah, you guys know who you are. Thank you so much for all your help.
Woo! Well done.
Very nice.
Mexican moving in style. So like
a lot of that going on.
That's right. And everybody who's watching now, hit the like, subscribe, share this out. We got a great episode for you tonight. Here we go. We got our special guest.
What's up,
PulseSwap.io,
everyone?
welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much. Excited to see you guys. And yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement going on, especially after November 5th and everything happening around. So I'm feeling the old excitement that we all have been missing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Went back to
Hex and Pulse Chain are flying more than Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. Looks like we're up 10% on the day, roughly, between the different RH assets, up 20 or 30% on the week. So since last time we met, things are looking really good, huh?
It is. Yeah, I'm fooling around with numbers just like everybody else doing my moon math, and I'm coming up with $6.96 combined hex. How about that?
Amen.
How about some moon?
And Matty, what's amazing to see is like it's a combination of what we've been talking about for a couple of weeks, especially last week, where finally, especially PulseX, Pulse, and Inc., they're basically doing, the breakout that Hex has been doing. Like I've been saying last week, it was just leading the way, leading the indicator, and the other will follow. So the nice rise, retrace, continuation, breakout, and everything's good. And it also shows that the selling is slowing down in the sense where whether those who are selling are running out of ammo or the buying is, coming greater than the selling, no matter what, it's really, really good, really, really bullish. Even EHEX got some love. It's important to point that out too. So it's just all around just doing good. So very happy to see that.
Loving it. And so our guest tonight is under the name of PulseSwap.io today, but we've actually had him on the show several times before. Also goes by Pulse Domains. And as a brief intro, I would say this is the same person who created something called BridgeBot.
Yep. BridgeBuddy bot, whatever you call it, it gives out free PLS. Yeah.
So this is a tool that automatically detects whenever a brand new wallet is bridging funds. Specifically, I think it's WETH or it's Ethereum being bridged into Pulse Chain, or USDC being bridged into Pulse Chain, and it gives that person bridging in just the right amount of Pulse, 3,690 Pulse, to be able to do their first transaction without doxing their other wallets. And that's something I've spoken to some whales. They're very pleased. They like that a lot. And myself, not even being a whale, I like that too, because I like privacy and pseudo-anonymity and blockchain things that just work.
Well, hey, I'll give some props to that too, because not from the anonymity point of view. Sure, that's good. That's good security and all that. They're just plain people that don't have Pulse yet. And so why force them to do a transaction for a few dollars for a few dollars of Pulse, pay that kind of transaction fee to bring it over. So I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, one additional fun metric to look at, and I'm just looking at the BridgeBuddy page that we launched 334 days ago. If you just think about the time saved of waiting for your second transaction, we saved almost 5,000 human hours sitting in front of the screen
Nice.
and waiting for that second transaction, right? So I find that metric is cool too, right?
Nuts.
Because usually you
Yeah, I
need to
love
do
that.
2 transactions, but now you just only need to do 1 transaction when bridging over from Ethereum to Pulse Chain. Yeah.
That is
That's
progress.
awesome. Yeah, thank
Love
you
that.
so much for that service, because it really makes it easier for people who are coming into Pulse Chain for the first time. I have this onboarding tool, the physical Pulse Chain coins, called solidusKey.com. And in my instruction manual that I give to people along with this, it has a note about Bridge Buddy making things a lot
Oh, that's
easier,
awesome.
and a shout out to Pulse Domains. And then of course you also have 2 other products that people in Hex and Pulse Chain are very familiar with. PulseCoinList.com. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah,
And
so the whole and I'm happy to kind of give everyone the overview. I and my team were really fortunate enough to be early in Hex. We met many of you guys in the first Hex conference and the second Hex conference, and I think once Pulse Chain was announced, we're like, okay, how can we contribute, or how I can personally contribute to make this ecosystem grow? And I'll post a post later on where I literally texted Richard. I'm like, hey, I heard we were going to do Pulse Swap as the DEX. I secured the name. I'm happy to donate it to you. And I also made the decision to step down from my companies and fully dedicate into building in the Pulse Chain ecosystem, right? And it was like November 2021 or so. And kind of like all of the products that we developed are really like, the goal is really to bring more eyes and attention to Pulse Chain, and also develop more and more better tools for the Pulsicans, Hexicans, and soon to be Pulsicans to use, to explore and see. And then also with that in a transparent upfront fashion, right? It's like PulseCoinlist.com, fully funded with our own bags. BridgeBuddy funded tiny bit with our own bags, but also with the help of the entire community. So 100% of whatever gets donated to the Bridge Buddy, it gets distributed to all of the onboards. And also now with the latest product that we released 2 days ago, it's all again about finding and helping users to find the best prices, doing the swaps at 0 fees, pretty much. So it kind of like goes along with the ethos and the goal of ensuring that the community grows, ensuring the tools that we have grow, and that we actually have a really good fertile ground for the 10,000x to happen.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that background, because that tells people where you came from and how generous you've been. Now, the other thing that people know you for, before we get into your new product, is Pulse Domains. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so with Pulse Domains, and we have a couple of additional updates there that will be probably announced in the next couple of weeks and months that are really exciting, I think, and that will put Pulse Chain more into other chains, and also to, give visibility into other users that have never heard about Pulse Chain at all. So, but again, enough with the tease. We'll talk about that. But yeah, Pulse Domains is Pulse Chain's first and only domain name service. So with that, you could essentially buy a domain name. You could send money to that addresses to those addresses. And then also we developed a series of front ends, such as the .pls FYI front end, where you could essentially create your own social profile, where you have all of your information, all of your social links, all of your NFTs displayed, as well as receive, that's the one, that's Maddie's one, as well as receive donations or tips or comments and so on. And again, this is ultimately, we're using a Web 2 interface and the Web 3 technology of Pulse Chain to host all of the information that you see on the screen. All of it is stored on the Pulse Chain blockchain, and only accessible to the person that has basically the keys to Maddie.pls.
Yeah, I gotta update, because I wear the cowboy hat now in all my pictures. So I got to get my private key out, and update that. All right.
Yep. So and then also at the same time, more for niche audiences. So we have also an IPFS service. So in other words, you could essentially, if you attach your IPFS website to your profile name, you could also have maddie.pls.to, which will be your website, pretty much. We have a couple of front ends using our service. Some of them are more in the privacy realm, but again, this is a really good way for anyone to use a Pulse chain blockchain while being also fully decentralized and really like, allowing you to see what's on the blockchain.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, and people have heard me talk about this before, so it's nothing new, but I wanted to remind people who you are.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I would like to highlight one other thing that I believe Mr. PulseSwap.io has done. You guys remember back when the Hex and Pulse Chain community was working on sending out petitions to the government, the SEC, etc. I believe Mr. PulseSwap was first to pick up the ball and make a AI-generated reply using the court material that I think there were tens of thousands that were sent out via email, and it sent it via email and everything. It was a very sophisticated use of AI that contributed probably, well, maybe you can tell me, sir, how many of those were sent out via your AI front end?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many, but we know RH posted that. We know a lot of people in the community posted that. And I think that just generated a lot of nuanced comments around the RH case, because the goal was not only just to create a comment and essentially root for RH, but it was all about creating nuanced comments that the courts potentially have not considered, and allowing users an easy way to take that content and post it. So yeah, and I also want to give a shout out back for Fast Abdul to be a really big supporter. We really kept it on the down low on the development side, and just wanted to make sure that the community has tools to help fight the case against the SEC, and basically has the content to do so. Yeah.
Nice. But I remember you did that within days of Richard posting that, maybe the community could write some letters. That was up and running. So cheers, sir, for your hard work. This is a guy who gets stuff done. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was an awesome, fun weekend. A lot of coffee and water. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I heard that you had launched a new product, so I went ahead and was excited to put this stream together to invite you on. And one of the things I did, I tested it out already, even though I know we'll have a lot of questions for you about how, what the pitch is and how it works. Yeah, but it's a very smooth, very appealing tool. It looks like for people to swap. PulseSwap.io is the website. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, and it's kind of like all started, and I would like to lean towards like RH's ethos. Maybe you guys remember when RH was upset when MetaMask was charging 2% or 1% for their swap, or even when 1inch was charging fees, right? So RH had really the best interest at heart for its users, right? And really cared about giving them the best deal possible. Well, fast forward to where we as a team felt that is not present within the Pulse chain ecosystem. We have some providers charging up to 3% and not even publicly disclosing it, actually bearing it. And people on Twitter actually that are a little bit more knowledgeable in doing chain analysis actually calling it out. But most people just don't know, and you cannot fault for them. People have busy lives. They want to kind of get into crypto, and they just see a good swap provider and they go for it. But they just don't know that they're getting ripped off by every swap at for 3%. And if you think about the percentages for fees in the swap world, 3% is outrageous. It's outrageous. We're talking about usually like 0.25% or 0.5%, but 3% is a little bit outrageous. So we felt, hey, there needs to be a product that allows people to understand and also see all of the different sources and places where people can do a swap and find them the best price. So that's why we worked also with Petit.
I was going to just make a comment on that part. And, on this show, if we all agree with each other, then we still try to find, some counterpoints to make, because that's what makes the show great. That's why we've assembled the team of people that have different opinions about things. For me, I've seen definitely RH wants people to get a good deal. Big time. At the same time, I also see there are a lot of websites out there in Pulse Chain where they're doing swaps and then they're reinvesting the money into advertising, into getting the word out, that sort of thing. And so I think, any type of business model where people are doing benevolent things, more or less, I think, like burying the fee, that's I wouldn't really stand behind that at all. I think it should, the whole point of crypto is to tell the truth and be transparent. But I would just offer the counterpoint that, like, if the money is going to get the word out about Pulse Chain outside of our ecosystem or whatnot, I think then that's also a valid business case.
I fully agree. And I think even if you charge 50% per swap, as long as you disclose, no problem at all. As long as an end user has an idea of what's happening, no problem at all. Yeah. And I think that, especially in the builder community, and we talk to so many builders who actually, look at the chain analysis and look at that, and they're like, man, this is bad, and we know exactly what's happening. But yeah, so anyways, that's one point. I think with Pulse Swap, we pretty much try to level the playing field and now give every end user a beautiful look on all of the providers that essentially are doing swaps, and you as a user are empowered to find the best deal or the worst deal. It's up to you, whatever buttons you click. So that's why we launched with pulseswap.io. And then on top of that, we also are available on 18 other different chains. So if you think about it differently, we're tapping into 50 plus DEXs across 18 different chains and using 12 additional aggregators to get all of the information in. So ultimately, one way to think about it, it's like one UI that gives you the best deal on any EVM chain that you use.
I was actually surprised because I was playing around with it, and at first I was hoping that there would be kind of a cross-chain swap type thing, but I was blown away. So on Pulse Chain, it really fits with the the idea there of being the aggregator of aggregators, right? So that's a cool tagline, and that tells me a lot about what I'm dealing with here. Is like something that shows me the best price amongst Pateas, GoPulse, etc., all the other places that people can swap on Pulse Chain. And I noticed that, and I noticed also that when I clicked the button, like the transaction went through. And that's a really big deal. I know that like that seems like a basic thing, but it's not these days. And so the slickness of the website and the usability of it was really high for me. Another thing, sorry, just let me know if I have too much background noise. But basically, the other thing I tried was just going on Ethereum and seeing like, okay, what can I swap for here? And I don't know. I don't care about things on Ethereum as much as I do on Pulse Chain.
Pulse.
And so I just looked at like what happens if I swap Ethereum to Pepe, right? Like whatever. I heard that got listed on Coinbase recently, and I was surprised to find that that there was a better deal happening on Paraswap than there was on cow.fi, which I just go to cow.fi these days. And so, yeah, that, that seems really useful.
Actually, you're bringing up a really good point, because we identified that in many instances, especially also for Hex or even Wrap PLS, I know in the community, we were really behind Uniswap, which obviously is a DEX, but then with 1inch. So a lot of people were using 1inch, including myself. And then we all went to CowSwap. And actually, and I think for many people believe or think, oh, okay, CowSwap is probably the best way to interact on Pulse chain, on Ethereum when buying Hex or even Rat Pulse. But actually, truth be told, that's not the case. You actually have ParaSwap, or in some instances, KyberSwap, giving you a better deal engaging on Ethereum when doing a swap. So yeah, again, the aggregator of aggregators allowing you to, at the very end, to find the best deal, regardless of the underlying tech behind it, or the aggregator, or the DEX, and so on. Yeah. But that was also very surprising to see for us, because we've been using CowSwap and 1inch for a long time.
Makes sense.
Cool. What about cross-chain swapping? Is that on the roadmap?
Yeah, so we launched this 2 days ago. This is not the end. This is just the start. We have a backlog filled with feature requests, and additional features. And to Fast Abdul's question, makes a lot of sense, huh? Does it?
Yeah.
So yeah. So we'll be also exploring that at the same time. In addition, I would like to give out also a special shout out to Petias. They have been collaborating with us on developing this tool. And also, if you just love them or hate them, they currently have over 1.5 million transactions that went through Pulse through Petias, and they are pretty much the leader when it comes to getting the best price. So we collaborate with them on having them fully integrated, so that at the very end you get also the same price on Petias than you would get on PulseSwap. We just put it into a UI where you can compare at the very end. And it's something, and I would say in the majority of cases, it makes sense to go with Petias directly and click it through our UI, or have low liquidity tokens, or if you have new tokens, or if you have smaller amounts, the best deal is then usually executed on the DEX directly. So either way, whatever it is, the user benefits the most and engaging with it. And if you go with Petias, you're using pretty much their tech. If you go with PulseX, you're using the routers through PulseX and so on. It's just the UI that puts it all into perspective, so you don't have to have 15 tabs open and compare prices.
Yeah, I like how it lists them all on the side and you can choose, right? And sometimes it's a marginal difference, and sometimes it's quite a large difference.
Exactly.
Depending on the token you're looking for. So in the end, I could end up doing it on Petias if Petias was the best deal.
Yeah, exactly. So for instance, if you click on Petias right now, you will be using the Petias contracts, right? So that's kind of like.
But the front end doesn't change. It'll stay on your front end, but it's running through the Petias contract.
Yeah, so we basically, with the partnership, we have our domain whitelisted and querying their API to provide price data. And then when it comes to an execution, also their router contracts and all of it. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. And truth be told, it really depends on the time when you do the query, the token amount, the liquidity, and I think basically those components and the newness of a token, and the newness, is it like newly launched, of where you find the best price from it, Yeah.
So it's not a conspiracy. Yeah. It's not
no.
Place. It's actually just getting you the best deal.
Exactly. And our platform charges 0 fees, but also allows people on the right-hand side to identify platforms that charge fees based on the red numbers. And it doesn't necessarily mean, this number has two things. It basically looks at the slippage as well as the fees, right? So for instance,
how do you charge 0 fees? Like this is a terrible business plan.
Well, similar. Pulse Coinless is also a business plan. The initiative that we did to help RH was also a bad decision, So it's
that expensive too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service in that case.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, long term. Also, I have to say that this tool just makes sense with having Pulse Coin List. So on Pulse Coin List, you can basically discover tokens and see the main RH tokens highlighted and so on. But then also, whenever you wanna swap, now you're being redirected to PulseSwap.io to find the best order execution or the best deal in that case.
Nice. Are you going to be adding more dexes on there?
Yeah, so there are some additional dexes that are on Pulse Chain. Looking at the volumes at this moment, it might be not a high priority, but let's say if tomorrow a really cool dex pops up that gets a ton of volume, we would definitely include them as well, for sure. Yeah.
I would suggest maybe the second largest dex on Pulse Chain would be a good choice.
Oh, so wait. Well, we have Fux, but we don't have two Fux in there.
Oh, 2 Fux isn't a dex.
Oh, I mean, we have the Fux LPs that we're also querying. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
There's some other, like some of those little ones, like they might be niche interests right now. But in particular, the ones that are like fork copies, like Alex from Hedron did a fork copy of Uniswap. That actually has a fair amount of volume. It just kind of shows up as Uniswap. There's also forks of like Sushi Swap and I think Shiba Swap that could really use a front end. I think you might see that you would make volume if you created the availability of being able to trade directly on those. And there are a couple niche tokens that's where the liquidity lives.
Got it. Yeah, we explored all of the forked over dexes, especially Uniswap, and in the beginning. In what?
No, I say Uniswap is awesome.
Yeah. So Uniswap, and we discovered based on, and again, we didn't look through all of the tokens because there was a good amount of liquidity, but then it tapered off, and we saw a lot of bot activity happening of pretty much arbitrage bots using the Uniswap contracts and then the PulseX contracts to kind of like leverage it. And we thought, okay, what's the added value at the very end? So maybe something to consider. I think it's worth taking a look on liquidity and what liquidity for what tokens. Maybe something to explore. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Well done.
Yeah, no, I really like the display. I like how it shows me what the best deal is with fees, right? Because that's
exactly,
something not everyone understands. Like sometimes you get more, this one gives me more tokens, but my fees are so much higher that I'm paying more per token, even though it's not on the same line when I'm doing the math. So that's really what matters is with fees, which DEX gives me the most tokens. And I'm looking right now at 10 million Pulse to Hex, and it's actually telling me that Pulse Hex V1 is the best deal. With most of them, Pydia seems to be the best deal, but like in this case, with fees, it's Pulse Hex V1. So that's kind of cool.
That's a really good point, and that was kind of like our approach here. It might lead to some confusion, I have to say that. We had some users of saying, hey, I get more Hex on this exchange versus here, but then if you include the fees and the total amount, you essentially have a different provider. So we include the fees. Not sure if we're going to keep it this way just to simplify it further, or maybe make some UI changes to it. But we include the fees into the calculation of what's the best deal. Yeah.
I like it. It's it's on the top. It's sorted in order, right? So it says best. Like I'm more likely to pick the one that says best.
Yeah.
And then I'll read the smaller print. If I see this one says best, but the one number is smaller, I'm getting slightly less tokens. Then I'll be like, oh, it's after fees. Okay, but it's still the best. So, I can just routinely go through, make a buy, click the top one that says best, and take that deal.
Yep.
If I don't click anything, does it auto pick the best one for me?
No, you have to you have to. Yeah. And also I would say this really implies to users that swap between, I don't know, 2 cents and $20, $30, maybe in some instances $100 or $200. anything above that, the fees become so negligible so that they don't really matter in the overall calculation, if that makes sense. Yeah. But for small swaps, yes, makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's great. Great job. This is a good tool. I'm going to add it to my list.
Yeah,
honestly, I looked at it, but I didn't know it was you. Because it's Mr. Pulse Domains is who I know you as, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, now I'm going to look at it a little closer, and I'll probably add this to my daily tools.
Yeah, we should have probably worked on the naming and have like a founder name and then all of the tools rather than, yeah. But yeah, so Pulse Domains, Pulse Coin Lists, and Pulse Swap are all the same team pretty much. Okay. Yeah, and I think now, I think from our side and from the tooling perspective that we see in the Pulse chain ecosystem, it's like now we're ready. Let's win the SEC case. Let's Mr. Trump pump the bags and provide some legislation that will essentially be pro crypto, as it seems, and RH warming up his mic and getting back on stream and sharing all of this wisdom that he collected over the past two and a half years.
Oh yeah. This weekend, do you think you could make a block explorer for us?
Sure.
Okay.
Excellent. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there are some things that are easier and harder to execute, and I think on the block explorer I saw a lot of forks that like the front end forks. And I think they're great and so on, but I think at the very end, you still kind of like need to clean up the back end and have everything re-indexed in the proper data format so that things pop up quickly and faster and so on. And I would also say this is a major task, it seems. So I believe the RH team has been working on this and so on, and we might get surprised. But I also know it is an undertaking. It's not a easy task for sure.
Agreed.
Yep.
Amen. DEXs are definitely coming back in big format. So, and again, we're probably going to talk down a little more later. But yeah, all the key good DeFi and aggregators, and also kind of what I was talking about for the past couple of weeks about the Aave, the compounds of the world, because DeFi is going to come back. It's literally geared up for a big explosion in Q1. Mm-hmm. Hopefully Ethereum gets its update and then gets a little bit more capital coming back in. But just like you were saying earlier, the cool thing about the Trump presidency is the fact that we're going to get more regulation so that people that want to build stuff that literally automate itself / provide yield, make promises, so to speak, but without being, chased or legally attacked. Yeah. When that gets cleared out, I mean, everybody remember what Uniswap was able to do. So imagine that on steroid. And that's why also you see even our indexes, PulseX killing, coming back volume. So it's just like, and retail is coming back. That's another big thing, which is the great time to do it now, advertise now, get the user now. This is where the outreach, it's so important. Yes, the green candle definitely help. Richard Hart, who the hell? The chat's funny. But also the combination of just like us being out there showing.
I was going to say, the real Richard Hart has a wrench. And if you have your own YouTube channel, you should just set that up ahead of time because there are scammers that try to come in.
Exactly.
Sorry, Kareem, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, be able to be geared up for that preparation, because when you start seeing things like that old coin, so to speak, that start to pump that you haven't heard about, that's how you know retail's coming back. XLM, XRP, ADA, all that stuff. And then also Coinbase now being in the top 10 app ranking. So it's like now is our time to really capitalize, because those new users are going to come in and they're going to want to know where to go. So obviously Green Candle is good advertising, but like you were saying earlier, getting on the right swaps where you can spend the minimum amount of fees. I don't care if you're moving $10. Retail likes to get things cheap as much as possible, so they get more value for their buck. So I think that's good.
And especially for traders, just to point that out. And then also to Karim's point, it's like, regardless of whatever political aisle you are, I think with Trump, and if you into crypto, all of the legislations that have been proposed, and it's really questionable if all of them go through, but even if some parts of it go through, they're very, very bullish for anyone in crypto. Assuming you're in crypto watching this stream, it's very bullish. I'm incredibly bullish. And I think something that many of us could not ever predicted 2-3 months from now. So yeah.
Yep. A lot of deregulation too, which is going to be good.
Yep.
So, and then the rest, now we got to do the rest, which is again, the advertising, the making sure that we educate people, making sure people know, like you were saying earlier, hey, use this versus that because, hey, lower fees, like things that showing to people what's been hidden so that they can make a more educated decision. So they know why they should be getting involved into one thing over another thing because they know where the value lies. So that's going to be the work we're going to have to do, because deregulation is great, but deregulation brings scammers too. So we got to make sure we keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
So you guys saw me go crazy and, swap a couple bucks worth of something into Hex here using pulseswap.io. And I also picked up some more Pulse as well because I was running a little bit low in this public address. But that reminds me that we've got a special event coming up. It's not too far away. It's going to be like December 1st and 2nd of this coming month. So we're like just under 2 weeks away from a big event that ChrispyMan helped originate, and I've also made an announcement on Twitter. I'm going to be doing a 24-hour Stake-a-thon.
Stake-a-thon, man. Stake-a-thon.
To celebrate Hex's 5th birthday. And that'll be on December 2nd. And we will set the world record for the most Cuatro Cinco stakes in a single day. All YouTubers are welcome.
That is so cool. I like that. On Hex's birthday too. So yeah, it's definitely possible. Definitely possible. We've done things like that before, so I can see it happen. The timing is great too.
Yeah, I'm recognizing a lot of the early energies is slowly coming back, and it's like the community's gathering again and people are coming back, and also on the macro scale and the RH case things are turning around. So it's really good timing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Get lucky.
Perfect.
Again, just speculation, but if we get lucky and then Hex gets dropped from the lawsuit first, oh man, that'd be so cool. Gotta wait for the judge.
I think before the Hex conference, which we do every year, January 6th through 9th, I think there's a really good chance because that'll be more than 60 days past the October 31st hearing. So yeah, but this December 2nd event, is meant to like activate anybody who has already been making content and wants to celebrate Hex's birthday and celebrate doing Cuatro Cincos and creating another world record. To activate people who have not been active on YouTube, but to also include everybody who has been. So yeah, really looking forward to this event coming up on December 1st and 2nd. Hexfire.io might be providing some stats to show us that we can break the world record. And we've already got Dipcatcher freaking out that we're going to clog the Pulse Chain blockchain 15.2 years from now. But in talking to ChrispyMan, what he said, and I really love this philosophy, is people can participate any way that they see fit. So that means any chain. It means any derivative version of Hex. This is to celebrate Hex, to celebrate the birthday, to celebrate the community that is the most longest staking community in crypto history.
That's right.
You
can do it. You can do a native stake. You can do a native HSI. You can do an actuator HSI. You can do a Maximus. Party token pool. You can do whatever pool.
Yep. And one more caveat for 15 years from December 2nd. Remember, you always get the 2 weeks grace period. So everybody's worried about any single day. No, you got 2 weeks. So even that gets addressed. So
there's a good accounting option too. So
that too.
Evelyn Whale could go through and write a script to do good accounting
Well,
of how it's 10 X.
That
The
fills
good-
up the chain
the-
just as much.
Yeah, it fills up just
Oh, it
as
does,
much.
eh?
So
Okay.
yeah, you kind
Yeah.
of just space it out. But here, you know,
Yeah.
listen, things.
But the 2 weeks
things will be
period is the
better.
best.
Things will be better in,
Yeah.
in 15 years,
Yeah.
right? So
So, because it's going to be. Go ahead, Madison.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, on that point, Kareem.
No, what I'm saying, there's gonna be many days in the future where, like, okay, on any given day, so many stakes, right? Or just today, oh my God, gas fees high. Just I want to friendly remind everybody that that's one of the beauty about the the 2 weeks grace period. Or you could be traveling, you know what I mean? It could be a regular day, and then hey, and then I didn't get my laptop or whatever. So it's like, remember, you got 2 weeks, so that's awesome.
yeah, and using my my nature here, right? Guys, don't make stakes if you can't afford to do it. You know, it's something you're not gonna, you can't pull it back, right? So if you commit for 15 years, it's 15 years,
Yeah.
you know. But that few $100, if you were to do it in, like, crazy terms, right? What it could look like in 15 years, that could be 55,550 hex.
Yeah,
You know, from
and that's another beauty.
easily that. And at $55 hex, that's $3 million. So
That's it.
I choose to believe in this very slim narrative. But hey, you know what? This might be, some people might find this turns out to be true. Wouldn't that be nice?
And that's another beauty about Hex. When we talk about Quattro Cinco, right? There is any amount, right? We can be as crazy as you can stake one Hex. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna do that, but it's just to show how fluid the code is. You know what I mean? Any amount. The
Dude,
celebration is the duration.
somebody stakes one Hex regularly a day.
You actually, there's actually a really fun fact about that.
That's a good trolling, you know.
So actually, I believe that this is true, that there actually is a minimum number of hearts that you can stake.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't go less than one.
But one Hex is 100 million hearts.
100 million. Yeah.
Let's go
100
back.
million.
Let's go back. It's not that there's a minimum number. I mean, there's certainly a minimum number of hearts, and it has to be one heart. But nobody's stake you if some whatever number it is. Nobody's going to stake that little number, because the way the system's written is it increases the cost for the gas so high. I haven't checked in on Pulse.
Well,
but
that's the contract failing. So that's what this is. Game theory, gang. There's people who've been watching the show for 4 years. They want to learn something new. So here it is. So the contract will fail if you don't do at least the T-share rate number of hearts.
Ooh, that's
whereas 10,000 hex being the starting T-share rate, and 1 heart being the starting minimum stake rate. So if we're up to 30,000 hex per T-share, then it would be 3 hearts
30,000 hex per
would be
T-share,
the
man, you
minimum.
already passed that.
If we're, well, I must be staking longer than 1 day then, huh?
I didn't go as far as that. I tested like 100 hearts one time, and it was exorbitant, the cost, right?
Okay.
Do it.
Well,
but I believe you that's true.
Maybe I'm
because
off
I
by a
haven't
decimal or something.
Yeah, but that's crazy. I mean,
that's
100 hearts. I mean, that's like one.
It was
1
it was just a
million.
test.
A million for one Hex. That's crazy.
Well, you know what I was trying to do is people were coming back to me saying, "Hey, what you're talking about with the T-share rate is wrong. People can beat the system. This is happening. This happening." So I did a lot of testing. And anyway, so one of the tests was what happens when you do a fraction of a hex, and does it affect things? Well, you're really. I remember briefly Richard talking about it one time about the design being such that it scales up the cost to do this. Do it, so you can't be. It's anti-spam, right?
Yes.
So
Right.
if you try to spam the network, you kill yourself in gas. So nobody's doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that low, you're definitely trying to spam. Because why would you create that many transactions if it wasn't?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you can go in. You can definitely go in. We could look at it. We're not going to do it now, probably. But you can go look and see that there have been hex stakes made for every number, starting with 1 hex all the way past 1,000. I think I stopped at 1,000. I stopped looking.
I hold the dubious honor of being the smallest sacrificer for the PP token, poor pleb, and I sacrificed 1 heart.
PP?
So I wasn't. Yeah,
Smallest.
yeah. I wasn't trying to make up for
sacrifice.
anything.
Lol. One heart. One heart.
That's the
So
Wait,
one heart. Yeah.
it accepted
One
it, Maddie? The one heart. Yeah.
I mean, the transaction went through. That's
Oh,
what
lol.
counts.
I-
I don't
well-
know how many poor pleb I got for that, but
I'll tell you this, mate. We get about 10 Quattro Cincos a day now. And I said this to you. I think our community could definitely, hit the all-time high. But I don't know.
What's the all-time high right now? Let's
I
do
don't
a
know
fun
if these
calculation.
guys. I'll go get it here in a moment.
And then let's make a friendly
I've
bet.
got it
But
for
I'm-
you. I've got it for you.
Did you
So
write it
it's-
down when we were talking about it?
I know I memorized it.
Okay.
So so native stakes,
Yeah,
not
native.
including HSIs, native stakes. The all-time high in a single contract today is 343.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, easy.
Okay.
Not bad. We're talking Quattro Cincos, guys. That's a big deal. That's not bad. That's
15-year stakes.
yeah. That's not your little, 2
Well,
weeks.
listen, I believe that I can go make.
Maddie,
one,
what was
but
the date?
I don't believe 345 other people are going to do it that day, but I'm going to try to get them to do it.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Now we got on 2 chain.
surprised.
If we track both chain, you'll be surprised if we get the word out. Why
Well,
not?
so that we are getting the word out, putting it out all different ways. So I appeal to everybody. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Yes.
Show me 400. Show me 500. Show me.
Yes.
I want to see that people really do it. Oh,
Challenge
I can't wait.
accepted.
Yeah, Maddie, we should we should run a poll and ask people in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
In the
Yeah.
chat, put
I'll do
your
it.
number. What do you think is gonna be? Again, we got 2 weeks to prepare for it. Imagine, wink, wink, the momentum continues because I can see us by Hex birthday. We return to previous high of March. So anywhere around the nice 3-4 cents Hex, easy. I can see that. I can see sack rate for Pulse Chain, probably even 1.5, and then sack rate for Pulse X as well. And Ink should be going around, hanging around the $5-6. If we get lucky, it might explode to $8 like it did last time. But it's like the momentum is coming back. We're getting good news. Rates are starting to go down, which is awesome because unemployment started to rise. So we're moving in the right direction. Feds might lower rate again in December. So it's like we're looking good. And then if Bitcoin go crack 6 figures and Ethereum run towards what I call a sack wallet sack rate, 3,800. All of that is in the card, and then what I mean. The liquidity, the bonded liquidity, all these things just bring us where we need to be. So
Yeah.
anything's possible.
I mean, I said that in an earlier conversation today, but I haven't been so bullish for quite some time. And there are so many factors that are just quite very positive for this ecosystem, for Hex. And I'm really curious to see played out. And so previous Hex all-time high, I think can be topped easily in this cycle. Yeah.
Yep. Amen.
Nice.
In the chat, put your number. What do you think the record could be? Do you think we can do more than 20? What was the number, Maddie? 340 what? 346? Of Quattro Cincos?
It is 343 is the current
343.
record, I believe, and ChrispyMan can double check that at some point. Non-HSI stakes, we were looking at cutting it up a few different ways, but
Nice. I think it's definitely doable.
I can do that by myself. I got quick
you can
fingers.
vote. You can vote now on YouTube, and everybody only gets one vote if you're only logged into one account. And then I'm going to replicate the survey on Twitter, so we'll get to see a little bit later in the show. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a couple hundred people pledging to do it by the end of the show, but we'll see. We'll see.
Especially if it's any amount, symbolic. It just makes sense. It's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trying to find the poll. We'll vote on it too. Ready. Perfect. Looking good.
I think that'll be a good day to talk about, the the additives for Hex too, right? Calm and Hedron and so on and so forth, because all those people obviously would be eligible for those things.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I voted.
Yeah, I think
What else
with
Go ahead.
the increase in interest in Hex again, we essentially have all of the derivatives, playing into it. And I think something that I found very cool or interesting is Calm, that I think is still very hard to understand for many people. But once you wrap your head around it, you're like, oh wow, it's actually a really good benefit for Hex.
Yes.
And so yeah, I think all of those, including Hedron and Icosa, and all of them will gain in popularity, and we will see good price increases in that case, given the liquidity on those is even lower. Sometimes it pops even harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You got 200K of liquidity in Calm versus 35 million in Hex. Like, it can certainly pump. And with the base concept of Calm being that it pays you to do longer stakes, like it's basically bribing people, which
free coupon yield.
Yeah,
it's not terrible.
I think
you get rewarded for doing the right thing.
where else can you get a 5, 10, 20% instant rebate?
Yeah. I think the marketing or the language is still maybe, at least like for people I talk to, like hard to grasp, on the Calm product. But I think, it's pretty much like you get a rebate card.
What do you think about instant rebate? We kind of migrated to that as being the description. What is Calm? It's instant rebate for staking Hex.
Because some people may not understand what rebate means.
I was about to say that.
Coupon was troublesome too, because
coupon was even worse.
People don't understand.
Especially if you're not an English native speaker.
Yeah.
Rebate might even be even more confusing.
How about free gift?
I agree.
It can be free.
I don't know, man. It's hard.
But the only danger of free is it might sound scammy. That's the only thing. But it's usually the easiest word to use. You know what I mean? Or you can say reward. You're getting a free reward because you did the right thing, which is staking Hex. So you remind them that the reason why you're getting it for free, but it's not free. In other words, you have to do an action. You have to do the staking. So when I usually say, I like to remind people, when you're getting free stuff, I wasn't saying it's free because then they lose the value of it. It was more like, no, you did something important in action and the system rewarded you for that. It didn't cost you to get the thing, but it's a reward because of the action that you took. Should you have not took that action, do the staking that the system found valuable, you wouldn't have received that. So you should be proud of yourself to receive that, a free monetary value because of the action that you took.
I agree. I can only echo that rebate for many non-English speakers. That concept is probably not it's known, but the word is not really known. But I also can't think of like the perfect word, right? Be it cashback or bonus or
I think it's bribe.
Somebody had something good in the chat too. That's good. Instant return on investment. That's cute too. Shut up, Corey in the chat. That's a lot.
That's a lot easier than instant rebate.
Instant return investment.
You could call it a free claim.
Maybe what we.
Yeah,
you could do that too.
Maybe
we could do is put together an advertisement.
Because free claim is popular from Hex days.
One of your AIs, Maddie. And have the AI just tell everybody instant rebate in whatever language or vernacular.
Yeah.
In every language.
You tell us what you want it to be called. But you get the money either way.
You Kiwis out there, tell us how to say it.
So we've got people voting on YouTube right now. We've had 31 votes. 81% of people watching Game Theory Gang right now. Of the 31 votes, want to do a Quattro Cinco Hex stake of any amount with us on December 2nd. On Twitter, though, let's see how we're doing here.
So that's 24 people. We're getting there.
On Twitter, we have 27% or 27 votes so far. 70% said yeah. So wow, off to a good start. So get your vote in now.
That's like a 4x.
Right.
On a normal day.
Right.
And Maddie, one wallet can do multiple, right?
Oh, that's true.
You
Potentially.
can.
I mean,
Yeah.
But it'll
It
be weird.
can.
But yeah, you can. That,
so part of this event is going to be all inclusive. That's going to be one thing. Doesn't matter what chain, doesn't matter how
Yes.
much hex you do, doesn't matter if you do a derivative. That's one goal. Another goal might be to set a world record in a standardized way. And so you might see, that people are doing on, at least ehex or phex or something,
Yep.
and from separate addresses and stuff. Whenever you set a world record, you kind of have to create some sort of standardization. Although I have fought back on the centralization part of whether you have to submit it to Guinness or not. But yeah, at the end of the day, people love creating history, and there's no community that seems to be doing that at such a rate as we are in crypto. So there you go.
Yeah, and then everybody can go claim their com.
yeah, right.
Get the free
And
cash.
stake your com, your instant rebate.
So is COM available on ETH Fair? Or, wait. ETH Fair is where they turned off the staking contract for Hex.
Yeah, I don't
I was
think
about
So
to
it'd
say
be
I went far out.
ETHW, I guess.
Yeah,
You've
and
done
we'll have
it.
to, you'll have to find,
That's why.
you'll have to
That's
find
why
somebody
we're.
that's-
If
That's why
W
we're gonna
works,
lightly recommend that you don't use those, right?
Yeah, but people do whatever they want to do. They can do it. I don't have any way to go figure out what happened.
We don't have
on
the stats
EW.
for that, so
Yeah.
do what you
EW
want.
still
but-
works. Alex is
Yeah, it
running
still works.
Close to front end.
I mean,
You can
somebody can do
stake
it.
hex on EW.
Beautiful.
I'm pretty sure.
Just not the fair one. The fair one is
Yeah,
kind of
no,
a
that
contradiction
one's-
there.
I can't even find.
exactly. Where you can't even connect to
Yeah.
that.
No.
It's like ETH unfair or something. You need a name change.
Yeah, man. Why would you refuse free money, right?
Right. Well, long story, but anyway, cool. Yeah, so I'm excited. You guys are excited. We're all excited to
it's gonna be
celebrate
epic,
Hex's 5th birthday in style this year.
I predict we're gonna see some really cool ass, funny ass, like stakes that day. I think we should, if he's watching, the gentleman that created Hex Wellbot on that day, it will be so cool if he lowers the threshold for stakes or but to be shown so that we can just see it all just blasting.
That's
on
a
the
great
tip.
idea.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's one Hex. I'm sure on that day, some big wallet might just do some crazy number, like Quattro Cinco, 5 million, 5. I wouldn't be surprised if there's gonna be a bunch of those. But like everybody at any level, I think it's gonna be big and small. Trust me, I have a feeling it's gonna be a combination of so many cool stuff. So that's good advertising. Just happy birthday.
So in the next week, I'll make sure to put out the exact hours in every time zone that we're going to be doing this. People are familiar with UTC, so we'll probably follow that. But I'll get whatever kind of sign up sheet or whatever we're going to be doing to again include all YouTubers and just really create a stake-a-thon to make our future selves proud. How about that?
Hell yeah. Doing the right thing on the way to the shout out to Yellowtail in the chat. Yes, Golden Yacht getting closer every day, baby. Every day. Stay they can chill. So it's gonna be good. So yeah, Maddie, if we can tweet at the guy or just DM him, ask him if he can let on that day just allow all the stakes to be shown on Twitter. That'd be so cool. As a
Such a
world
good
record,
idea.
that would be amazing. And it would be
Is that
so many
is that the account that has one of the accounts? I think has a hex badge to like stop
yeah,
them
I
from
think
getting
so.
rate
Well,
limited.
well bought. Yeah, he does have a hex badge. You give it to him. Well, hex.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a note to see if we can arrange that.
So it's so cool. Hex alert. Yep. 41K followers. So in school, because most of the community follows that. So it'll be so cool. Everybody just get bombarded by notification on Hex birthday. That'd be so cool. Friendly reminder.
Awesome idea. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then because some people they might do it or might kind of want to do it, but they want to wait and see. And then imagine you see a shit ton of alerts. Now it makes you want to participate more. So it's like, you know what I mean? You at work, all right, cool. You go back to home and you drop yours. So it's like that would be so cool.
Very true.
I thought
So
about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of got onto that tangent because I was saying that I had used PulseSwap.io to trade into some hex, and
Okay.
we've got this great hex event coming up. Is there anything else? Any other questions, suggestions, any other points of information that people want to make about PulseSwap.io?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I said this in a different group earlier today, but I like it because what you can do is you can use it to validate that you're getting similar results from different sources, right? And it's our responsibility when we're transacting to make sure you're not getting screwed. So you got to look at these things and see what's happening, And so this is another tool to add to that, and you also possibly do your swaps through,
Me, I like it for multiple reasons. Rule number one, I think this is one back in the day since Uniswap days, is that just for the simple fact that having multiple options increase decentralization, increase robustness, so we can always be good because you never know. It's kind of like having as many validators as possible. It's always good to have. Because I remember the days when Hex first came out, we had V1 and then we went to V2 and then some scammers trying to fuck up the the register site. And then the more we had, the more aggregator we had, it became very, very difficult for, even scammers or other people to compete. Because now everything is just aggregated together. And correct me if I'm wrong, PulseSwap or Fast Abdul, because you guys are more expert on that. But is there a way to make those things more interconnecting with other DEX so that, let's say hypothetically, if I'm on, app.pulsex and then there's one coin that the liquidity might be low over there, but it's good on PulseSwap. Would I be able to one day be able to indirectly call it, I guess, aggregate to so that he can route there potentially, and then just to increase, either liquidity or lower slippage or stuff like that. I think that would be cool if they can kind of talk to each other like that.
Yeah. Right now, we pretty much go through all of the DEXs and Petias to find the best route and also the LP that has most liquidity for executing the best price. But we're not talking back or sharing any feedback to each platform and changing their liquidity in any sort of fashion. It's kind of like the market deciding or individuals that provide LP deciding. I would also like something, and the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Something that Maddie highlighted it earlier. When he was on Ethereum and trying to buy a token, or even if you do the experiment with Hex or wrapped PLS, you will find that CowSwap or 1inch might not be the best and cheapest options. You might have aggregators that the community hasn't really used. Like KyberSwap might have a better rate for you than the ones that the community already know, right? And especially when it comes to the onboarding side of things, when you onboard someone with deeper pockets, that difference makes that's a couple K that you could save. So in this case, So I think the product makes sense for this community. The product makes sense in the sake of transparency and ethos. So there's not much explaining needed, I guess.
I guess one suggestion I might throw out there, and maybe it's not as useful, but for all the people that I already printed these booklets for. I put Pulse CoinList there as a reference, but I'm wondering maybe you guys would choose to put a banner at the top of Pulse CoinList or some pop up that tells people hey, by the way, there's this other thing that is part of this same website and from the same team and kicks ass and can help people.
That's a really good point. Right now, we have just a small button that says swap. It's not really highlighted in any shape or form, but I think now, especially at least for a month or two, we should probably advertise it as a new product. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah. And I think also to the community and to anyone here, right? It's we launched 2 days ago, and as mentioned, this is just a start. If you have feedback, feature requests, and so on, DM us, tweet at us. Let us know. It is a living product like other, front ends or UIs. It's all about, letting us know. We change it. We already got a good list of user feedback that we actually hadn't had considered, that we'll be rolling out over the next weeks and so on. So, but those are really, really welcomed because they really help make the product better and the UI better and the overall experience just nicer. I think also like something that we kind of like put at the very bottom on PulseSwap is like 3 different ways to get onboarded into Hex, to either buy or Pulse Chain, for instance, either to buy it through your credit card or through buy it through Bridge, or in that case, to buy it through the official, or to buy it through the official Pulse Chain bridge. And just for reference, when we did the math, if you are buying it with credit card, Stealth X is better on rates. And if you are doing like, obviously the best way is the bridge, from Ethereum to Pulse Chain. But if you're doing it for instance, from Solana to Pulse Chain, Change Now for now is like the best rate. I'm not saying that they are the best solutions out there with the best possible rate, but they are the most easy solutions at this moment. And again, to the suggestion that came also from the audience as well as here, figuring out something around bridging and allowing people to find the best way to bridge makes a lot of sense for PulseSwap. So that's definitely something we're looking forward to.
I think if I've had this discussion specifically about Solana with some people earlier this week, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is that while you can bridge from Solana to Ethereum, they have like a wormhole bridge, and then you can bridge the Solana you now have on Ethereum to the Pulse chain with no percentage taken out of it using the Richard Hart bridge. And then there is like hundreds of thousands of dollars of Solana on the Pulse chain that you could sell into. So, like there is a way to move from those non-EVM chains, like not Ethereum virtual machine chains, to the Pulse chain, because most of those chains have a bridge to Ethereum where their tokens exist. And then from Ethereum, you can move with the Richard Hart bridge with no fee except for the gas to the Pulse chain. Now, of course, you have to make sure there's liquidity on the Pulse chain for the thing you're moving. But if there wasn't, you could bridge to Ethereum and sell it on Ethereum, and then bridge, there's tons of liquidity for Ethereum on the Pulse chain. You could bridge Ethereum to Pulse, or you can even buy Pulse on Ethereum and bridge it to Pulse chain. So I think there are some low fee options. There's just a couple of extra buttons. So if a smart guy were to create an option where you could click one button and it would end up coming over the Richard Hart bridge from, let's say, Solana, I think that would be interesting.
I think that's a really interesting point, right? Instead of, we could already use the existing tech, and it's all about creating an interface where you press, one button, have maybe 5 different selected coins that you could bridge from Solana, and you're pretty much doing 2 hops. You're bridging from Solana to ETH, from ETH to Pulse chain, right? Obviously, pricing and so on might vary, but I think from a user experience, that's something worth exploring. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good idea.
A lot of the tokens like are bridged, like the big tokens, right? Like obviously Solana, but like all the chain tokens that matter, like, whatever it is, SUI, AVAX, Polygon, like they're all they have representations on Ethereum that can be bridged to the Pulse chain. So like we could be farming, 5 different chain tokens on Pulse chain, and they can be bridged back for arbitrage. Like all those options were created when the Richard Hart bridge was launched, and it's a pretty cheap bridge as far as bridges go, and it works well. Like I remember the first day when everybody was trying to use it, there was a couple glitches, and like since then, like basically if you give 30 minutes, you will have your funds on the Pulse chain or off the Pulse chain if that's the direction you're going. It works fine, and you just have to interact with Ethereum. That's the only downside. Like obviously, it'd be nice to go from some of these cheaper transaction fee chains, like go right from Polygon to Pulse chain, and because you wouldn't have to pay Ethereum gas fees. That's the only real downside in my mind to having to interact through Ethereum is the gas fee. But like if you're a whale and you're moving, $200,000, well, like the gas fee is not your problem. It's just that you have to click 2 buttons instead of 1.
Yep.
I wonder too, piggybacking off that, because that's an incredible suggestion, and I think like now we're generating ideas that are going to let people bridge in millions. much easier, and every tiny thing we can do to make that easier, the better. Maybe BridgeBuddy could expand to include DAI, which is the best deal you can get bridging in. And like Fast Abdul just said, maybe, if you're bridging in $100,000 of Solana or whatever, well, I don't know how you'd measure that because you'd be bridging it from Solana to ETH and then ETH to Pulse Chain. But anyway, the point is, any like giant whale transactions might be well facilitated and well worth it.
Yeah, and I have to say, and we double check the system. So currently, anything you bridge from Ethereum to Pulse Chain, if you don't have any PLS in that receiving wallet, you get sent PLS by the BridgeBuddy. However, there are some super edge cases, and I feel like the edge cases are super important because we had instances where someone bridged in 100K and didn't have any PLS. These are instances. Yeah, so these are instances we definitely want to iron out. So we had our team taking a look at it, but we were still like monitoring and making sure that everyone gets their PLS. So we want to definitely not cover 99%. We want to cover 100% of anything ever being bridged in, even if it's like some random meme token. If you don't have any PLS, you'll get some.
Is that something you take donations for to acquire that PLS? Because obviously something.
So initially we started off self-funded, and then the community was generous enough to donate to that address. So they either sent PLS back. We also had some other tokens in that wallet. I think any other tokens that would be donated to that wallet, I think we will only sell them if we run out of PLS. Because we don't want to pick and choose or prioritize certain projects. But yeah, it was, I would say at this point 99% the community. And I would also like to shout out Hex Toys, who did a very generous donation that helped a lot. So yeah, definitely big shout out and big thank you to him of doing that donation. Yeah.
Sure. Generous community. Well, that's pretty good service, because whales coming on who don't understand how the gas works on Pulse Chain, and that, Pulse, even though it's insanely cheap, is the equivalent of Ethereum, which they may understand is being used for gas. Like that's like a huge edge for them, because all you need is, like nowadays, like 300 Pulse, like max 1,000 Pulse, and then you can sell some of the thing you brought over to as much Pulse as you need to transact forever, right?
Exactly.
So that's a big win. How much Pulse?
And sometimes, I was going to say, sometimes, somebody with $1 million or $100 million in crypto, they're only starting with $100 transaction to test it out too. And so I love that it's including virtually anybody.
Yep.
Sorry, Fast, what was your question?
I was asking how much Pulse they get when they use BridgeBuddy.
Yeah, so I did the calculations, I don't know, a week ago, probably a month ago, so don't hold me accountable for that. But right now you're getting 3,690 PLS, which should be sufficient enough for, I believe, 20 swaps, 200 cents, something like that. I have it somewhere buried in my on Twitter on Pulse Coin List. But yeah, it should be enough to get started. So yeah,
definitely enough. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's another great.
That's good.
Not profitable service you're offering, sir. Thank you.
And you don't have to connect to anything. You don't have to do anything. Exactly. The first block before your bridge money even gets there, the Pulse gets there. The BridgeBuddy Pulse gets there on the first Ethereum transaction, not on the 90th. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Nice. That's good.
So BridgeBuddy is faster than the bridge. Here we go.
Hey, that's the beauty about community, right? More.
I mean, also now, just to kind of like look at the stats, we onboarded over 11,067 wallets. A total amount of $68 million was onboarded with the help of BridgeBuddy. I want to express very softly. and then $500,000 in Ethereum fees were saved, right? Because the second transaction costs ETH fees, right? So we saved $500,000 in ETH fees, and hitting 5,000 human hours sitting in front of the screen that were also saved.
Nice.
That's incredible. Those are awesome statistics. Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yep.
This is freaking awesome.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the current bot balance, we're good. We're ready for the next 10, 15, 20,000 users. Easy. Yep.
Yeah, I just saw that. You guys still have, almost 22.5 million polls. You gave away 28.7. So that's good. That's a good trend. And I didn't even know this thing is on since 334 days. Wow. Almost a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well done.
Thank
And
you.
you're right. Yeah, it says on the website FAQ. It says you can receive 3,690 pulse token bonus. It says it on there.
Oh yeah, I could make that last a week. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think we initially started with 1,000 PLS, but then the gas fees got a little bit higher. So I think 3,000, which is roughly 20 cents, right? Just if you do the conversion, it's like 20 cents, which should be.
I like the combination with 369 too. It's cool.
Yeah. 3,000, you could unstake like hex stakes. You could do like heavier transactions. You could enter a liquidity pool.
Yes.
Those kind of things that cost a little bit more gas. That would probably cover most days anyway.
Because it's like a 2-3 step process. Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, and so if anybody in the chat has any questions for PulseSwap.io, go ahead. If anybody on screen has any questions, go ahead. PulseSwap, if you want to duck out at any point, you can. Our show goes for 2 hours and 20 minutes on Tuesday nights. And so you're welcome to stay the whole time. You're welcome to duck out at any point. You're welcome to stick around and see if there are any more questions.
Yeah, I'll probably stick around for another 5 minutes. If not, I will switch the sides and will be a viewer.
Cool.
Very good. On the subject of bridging, since we're there, I wanted to mention that we have other bridging options to Pulse Chain from other chains. They're not free like the RH bridge in the same way, but portalx.io by the Power City team, you can bridge from almost any reasonable chain to the Pulse chain. There may be limits on some things. On some of them, it will route through Change Now or various other services, but it is a pretty easy to use front end for moving from something like if you're moving $600 from Solana to Pulse chain, it works pretty good. You can move from Arbitrum, you can move from AVAX, and
you can get off base real quick.
Yeah.
No 7-day wait. No 7-day wait.
Yeah, exactly. Abdul, do you know what the fees are? I think it would be good to let the viewer know.
The fees will vary a little bit because they're going through various different providers. So if you're going from Ethereum to Pulse chain, use the Richard Hart bridge, right?
Yeah.
Because
nothing beats zero. Yeah.
But the Portal X protocol, I think in my head, the swaps are a 1% fee. You can do cross-chain swaps. So I can sell ETH for Pulse on the Pulse chain type thing. So it does have that cross-chain swap option, but there is a cost to it. It's less expensive to use the Richard Hart bridge for most things, but it depends what you're doing, right? And it depends on the volume. And if you're you need to move from, something obscure, the Sui chain to the Pulse chain, and it's only $250. Well, this is a good option for you to move to a better chain.
Exactly. What he's saying is if you have anything else than primarily ETH assets, because the Richard Hart bridge is primarily focused on those, then if you want to dodge not going to have to go to exchanges and their fees even more crazy because you have to send money over there to them, then sell the coin over there or swap it, then the exchange fees, and then you try to withdraw the money out, then there's the withdrawing fee, and then that thing will be way more than 1% by the time you're done versus staying on DeFi. So that's what Abdul is saying, which makes sense. But again,
that could be one that could be integrated, not necessarily integrated, but like PulseSwap.io could have some interaction with that, where it showed, that as one of the things, because they are effectively a DEX aggregator themselves. I can see that actually making sense.
That'd be
Yeah. So something that we've seen. So number one, if you have larger amounts, the official bridge is the best way, period. And then we've seen various UI interfaces that might give you an impression that some bridging is happening and so on, but the underlying tech is Change Now. So I would even say Change Now is the number 2 onboarder, right? It's like however you want to call it or however you want to say it, at the very end, it's hitting the Change Now APIs and their fees and a potential network fee on top of a platform fee and so on. So, but yeah, to anyone bridging larger amounts, the official bridge is the cheapest way. At this
moment, you can
moment.
get to Ethereum and then go from Ethereum to Pulse Chain. So like the two-step, like if you're on Sui Chain and you're moving $50,000, usually you can bridge to Ethereum, and then from Ethereum to Pulse Chain, that's the math is probably good. If it's like $150, then I think something like Portal X. Very
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then you don't encounter the ETH fees at the same time. So it really depends on the amount. It's a good point.
Yes,
good point.
And you get speed too. And then somebody said in the chat too, it's a great point. The way you can onboard sometime also is, via certain wallets, like Internet Money or other wallets, or like someone on the phone, where they allow you literally to just, you put your card or whatever, and then it kind of does the bridging for you, because they deposit directly, Pulse Chain asset directly onto your wallet, whatever it is on your phone or your computer or whatever. So that's also worth mentioning out, that sometimes you can onboard yourself via a wallet that have those integration built in, and then they'll just take your money. And then again, you're probably going to be dealing with anywhere from a 0.5 to 1% fee, like Abdul's been saying. But the value there is just the speed. Because sometimes it has happened to me. I onboard people that literally, like, they don't have laptops, they only have their phone, but pretty safe, and that they have their money all set up like that. So it's just faster for them to just do it that way. Because by the time you get the computer, this, that, sometimes people, they get, not that they get scared, but they get lazy, and then they don't want to do it. Versus when they're ready right now, they say, what do I do? Hey, 1, 2, 3, based on what they have.
Exactly.
But if they do have money, absolutely set them up with the official bridge, and then explain to them, we're doing that because you're going to save money and you're going to get more value for your buck. That's important.
I mean, if you have somebody swapping, I don't know, from Pepe to ETH on Ethereum on PulseSwap.io, and they're swapping like $1 million worth, you could just have like a little paper clip pop up or something like Clippy from Microsoft Word, and it could just be like, oh, hey, do you want to get rich in Pulse Chain while you're at it or something? I mean,
little pop up.
I'm impressed with this, not just for what it can do on Pulse Chain, but what it can do for people who are on other chains as well. So
those are the good soft
to see how that plays.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously introduced it as, for Pulse Chain, and that's kind of like the main focus, because I think we as a community just need a tool like that. But then also, hey, there's 17 other chains, 18 chains in total. And over the next months and so on, we will be working with some other parties to essentially get those people, or people that are not necessarily familiar with Pulse Chain, into Pulse Chain, or at least give them the option to check it out.
I think it's a fantastic idea, because not only, as you're growing, you increase the connectivity between multiple chain, and then also which increase liquidity as well, showing to people, especially the new people, sometimes they scare, like, because I've talked to some people, they're like, I'm not afraid to come in. It's just how fast can I go in and out? Because at first, right, people come in, they're a little paranoid, right? Even though we know this, because we're expert, we've been doing this for so long, but some people, they don't, shout out to KC, my boy in the chat, donation $100. Thank you so much. Nice. That's awesome. Great dude from the community. But yeah, so it's like, they just want to see how easy it is to go in and out. And then when they're happening is now they just go in and just stay and just have fun. It's just resolving that fear. Kind of like, like first person you talk to that never done crypto, where's the money? What if the money's gone? I'm like, just relax. It's just not going to disappear. It's just there. Just understand how it works and navigate how to, come on board or go to the exchange, off the exchange. And once they understand and it's more fluid and it's just 1, 2, 3 clicks and they can move from different chains, I think that's going to be gold. And that's why I'm looking forward for that Ethereum upgrade next year, Q1, because as we become more interconnectivity with the different blockchain, all of those bridges can just be like one-stop shop. Imagine you're on MetaMask and then all of those guys just connect to that and then you just have everything moving. So
I mean, also at the same token, right? It's like, even though we highly advocate for transparency and fees and so on, when it comes to like, I think PulseSwap and most products we interact with, these are for DeFi folks. We are comfortable living in DeFi, but when I onboard someone that heard about Bitcoin and wants to get in it, in many instances, it's either you want to go DeFi, which is a 20-step process and 3 hours of your time hand holding and ensuring that you're not sweating, or as simple as, just register with Coinbase and just press the buy button. If you want to sell, just press sell button. You have it in euros or USDT, US dollars instantly, right? And I think that's overall very controversial. I think within the community, centralized exchanges and so on. But yeah, I think at some point it will play a critical part. And I don't know. I like looking at all of this. I think it's a matter of time of when this also will be happening. I mean, I see exchanges listing some 14-day-old meme coin on a major exchange, right? And it's like now we have an L1 that has a significant amount of total value locked and volume that is still kind of like debating if we should go on it or not. And I know there are listing fees and so on, but I just wonder if some meme coin founder that potentially sold all of it, and there were some instances where they sold all of it, how did they get their stuff listed on an exchange? So yeah.
It's definitely controversial, but the cool thing is we have already understood as a community that we will build and they will come. We'll play nice, but we're not going to sit here and just rely on them. So that's why, and I'm glad you're pointing that out, because we can see the double standard and we can see the hypocrisy too at times, because they're trying to play everything has to be vetted and perfect, and then you respectfully put something that's, like you said, 14 years old. We're not even trying to say it's garbage or not. The point is, again, it's so new, and then you pride yourself doing all this research, but then this thing is brand new and there's no research and it's listed like it's nothing. So that's why what I also will say is, yes, they got that first mover advantage with the speed versus, cost, like you were saying. But I believe that as more people are getting more educated about crypto, like it's happening like a big wave, like whether it is in the US or around the world, just like anything before, when people knew nothing about stocks. I remember back in the day, shut up, give me your money, I invest for you. And then they find out those advisors were crooks. They were charging crazy fees. They were not even giving you returns. It's like they make the money, you get like 20%, they steal 80%, you don't even know. They lose the money, they tell you, the market was bad. And then you still have to pay them the commission fees. I mean, it's insane. But then guess what? Then the roaring kitties of the world came in, the wave of young people learning about stocks. And next thing you know, they're the new experts. They have their podcast and they know just as much as the boomers. I think it's going to happen like that in crypto. At first, they don't know. Like you said, buy and sell. But then when they realize, wait a minute, Coinbase is charging me $8 just to send money out. Like when they start breaking down the cost, when they're like, wait a minute, the price on the exchange is saying this, but when I go on the coin market or whatever, the aggregator, it says the price is over there, because some of those exchanges, that's their trick. They do zero fee, but the fee is baked into the spread.
Exactly.
Okay? So it's all those tricks. They don't know until they learn. And once they know, bro, they're going to start turning those exchanges like public restroom, in and out. You only use it for onboarding or taking money out. So it's going to come. And that's why I think our hard work is going to pay off, because it's dedication, it's education. It's not there's no malice in our heart. We're not trying to mislead people. We take the long way, the highway, but long term, this is why the community sticks, because people look, oh, wow, that's why they're looking out for me. Now, next thing you know, I got some of my friends, they want to learn that hard way. How do I play DeFi? How do I do liquidity? Because now they realize that there is value, and they realize that we're looking out for them, because they only have, in the beginning, just a few $100, and like we're trying our hardest to make that money stretch. So by the time they start turning it into thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, they already learned what to do, so they don't make those mistakes. and some other people, which I love too, the hardworking people, they just want to be able to put money away on a weekly basis, kind of like long-term savings account. So now that they know, they want to know the best way, so they minimize the fee because they're going to have a repetition every week or every bi-weekly. I'm going to put, $100, $200 away. So minimizing the fee, you look back a year later, you save 20, 30% of the portfolio just on fees. It's insane. And then if you multiply by the X's that you can get, let's say the product end up doing a 10X or 100X, you save 2,000% just on fees. So I commend you guys for doing that. Keep up that good work. So.
Yeah, and I think you're bringing up a really good point, right? You might see 0% fees, but then the exchange rate is the one that already bakes the fee in, right? And I see a lot of, especially centralized exchanges doing that. The spread is like off. And that's how they get you. And, if you don't know, you just read, 0 fees, that's great. Let me trade. And especially if you're then doing multiple trades, that essentially takes away from your profits overall or from your gains overall. Really good point.
My first Ethereum I ever bought, I bought it through Coinbase. I bought 1 ETH for about $14, $12, something like that. And I paid an $8 fee.
Right? I was just about to say that. That's stupid $8 fee, man. It's still here, man.
That's 0.8. That's 0.8 ETH, right? That's worth over $2,500 today, right?
Yeah.
Was the fee that I paid. Yeah.
Just the other day, I sent $500 to my brother. Literally, I was trying to, and then because he doesn't use Kraken like that, he was using the Coinbase. But by the way, right after that, I made him download Kraken. So literally, send the stable coin. Yeah, $8 flat. It's insane. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know until after the fact, because when he got it, and then because it was a stable coin, when he sold it, again, only if it's not USDC. If it's USDC, they kind of do like that 0 fee besides the $8. But any other one, there was a fee just to receive the fund. And then there's another fee because technically it's a crypto, even though it's a stable coin, it's not USD. So when you go to USD, there's another fee for that. And then you do a wire transfer and there's another fee. It's just it's insane. By the time it was done, he lost $50. $50 of value in fees. That's insane. And then it's funny. And if you do it with Kraken, it's not a shameless promotion, but it is true. And again, by the way, I got Kraken only because back in the day, Richard Hart said it best. It was the only exchange that didn't shield a lot of garbage and leverage trading and all this sort of stuff. And the least, there's some there, but the least and the lowest fee. And to this day, it's so good. It's like there's no $8 fee when you're trying to send stablecoin. That's crazy. And then the transaction fees are very low. And then the wire transfer, when you take money out, it's only $4. $4. And that's the wire transfer fee, not the send money out the exchange fee. So again, if you're in the US, I highly suggest Kraken. Lowest amount of fees, lowest amount of fee on the spread as well. Again, you get more bang for your buck. So Coinbase, bro, they just rip you off. I'm sorry. I get it. It's their business model, but I hate the line because you're telling people with the best 0 fee, but then the spread is killing you. That's crazy. And that's if you don't have Coinbase Pro, it's even worse because the regular Coinbase, the spreads are even worse because those people have no clue. It's literally buy and sell. There's no chart. There's nothing. It's just you can't even do limit order. Everything's just like a market buy. So whatever the spread is, sometimes it's heavy on Bitcoin. I've seen $150, sometimes $200 spread between prices. I mean, it's crazy. Bang, bang.
Yep, the fees are ridiculous. I mean, it's like if you actually look deeper, you kind of realize it. But I just keep going back for someone that is new. They just do it. They just don't realize it. Yes, it's somewhere in the fine print or on page 55. So and the good point, the spread. That's usually the big one. And yeah, most users
spread by millions of people, man. Mm-hmm. Shit, that's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, this is extremely valuable to be having these conversations. I want to highlight somebody in the chat. Casey is a well-known long-term Hexican. He is somebody who I think in a lot of ways is living the dream of crypto and Hex because he is so long-term minded. He's been in Hex since all of us have been. And I believe, I'm not going to dox him, but I can tell you he has spent, I believe, months hiking a famous trail in the world, doing one of these incredible journeys of a lifetime that people, a lot of people, they wish their whole lives and they never get a chance to do what Casey has been doing recently. And so when I hear from him, even if it's not $100 super chat, which we greatly appreciate, I'm just glad to hear that he's doing well, and I can't wait to hear some of his stories from the.
Should come on stream. It's been a minute, buddy. Good to see you. Miss you. Yeah. Awesome.
So thanks. He says, good to see Game Theory Gang is focusing on the best game theory contract known to man. He must be talking about Hex. Thanks. Let's bring it home. Hell yeah. Appreciate it, Casey the Hexagon.
Bang, bang. That's awesome.
What's up, Franklin? Hex Monkey, Susie Q. Got a lot of
shout out to everybody in the
known
chat.
Streamers here in the chat. Good to see you guys.
Nice.
Well,
Nice.
I want to thank PulseSwap.io for coming on the stream and for all that you're contributing. I think it's really incredible that you're doing these things not from a profit-driven point of view, but from a community paying it forward type of point of view. I know that you also make a big difference when it comes to like some of the longevity work that Aubrey de Grey does, and you've just been a truly inspirational member of this community. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do for the crypto world and the world at large.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Maddie. And thank you so much for having me. And then also thank you for Fast Abdul, Karim, ChrispyMan. Thank you so much for having me, and we'll stay in touch. And I'm looking forward to meet you all guys again in person, hang out a little bit and catch up. Well, with that said, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Sounds great. Take care.
All right.
See you next time.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yes, that was awesome. Great dude. See, we need people like that in the community. It's always good to see that. So give me energy.
So having such a positive member of the community, it really helps. I'm not quite sure how to make the transition here, but I know that some of the things Kareem has been saying and that we've been talking about here, Fast Abdul, all of us have been talking about kind of, why isn't Hex and Pulse Chain listed on centralized exchanges? So on and so forth. Of course, there are advantages and disadvantages to that. There's been some, I don't know, can we call it banter on Twitter here in the past 24 hours? Because, in my opinion, there was kind of a dubious or a shady kind of like whale comment that was made from a supposed crypto billionaire who said that they would like donate $1 million for a centralized exchange listing only when Pulse Chain does a 300x from where we're at now. And so quick math, that supposed crypto billionaire was offering to donate about $3,300 towards an exchange listing, which Kareem and I kind of did a rundown last week on all the ways that certain community member has kind of fleeced people or not always been the best actor. So that kind of, I bring it up because it's a fine line. This show is seen, and a lot of us are seen as like acting in good faith and being leaders that are mostly positive and lifting each other up. And but that doesn't mean that we're just going to let a wolf in sheep's clothing or somebody come along and just start scamming everybody. Like, you guys saw me stand up when T-Money stole $250,000 from the community by taking people's money and not doing what he said he was going to do with conferences. And I had nothing to do with him, after I had, pretty early on in his involvement, because I could tell he was a bad actor. But, it was hard to speak up when the platform is about coming together as a community. So that's I think a fine line, and it's something that each of us kind of has to decide for ourselves how much we want to say or not say to call out kind of scam like behavior. But again, in all irony and good jest, I wasn't the only one who promised to donate $1 million. Even if we get a 150x from here. Okay. So, that's the update there. And you guys are free to comment or not comment however you see fit.
If X goes to $10, I'll pay $1 million for a listing for Pulse, whatever you want.
I know, whatever you want. But I mean, I'm on the camp that they should just list it. Another thing is like those same exchange, sometimes they got double speak, right? It's like I respect you want to say, hey, this is the listing fee, this is it, done. But then there's others that be like, oh, there's no fee, everything is da-da-da. And then we find out in the back door, because guys, I'm in some of those DMs sometimes. I don't even want it. It's just they DM me on Telegram. Because, they do their research, permanent community, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, we don't do that. They say, what do you mean? I say, yeah, no, we don't do that. Because they thought sometimes we say stuff on TV or whatever, and then we're going to say something behind, like, nah. Or we reach out to Richard, this, yeah, no, we don't pay for that. It's just, hey, you either list or you don't, especially those who said they don't have a listing. So again, my only thing has always been, I like transparency. I don't like double talk. I love everybody in a sense where I got no malice in my heart. But again, because I love my people, if I feel like, and since it, and I have receipts that you are literally in the manipulation business, then no, you will be called out, period, full stop, end of story. You know what I mean? You do what you want to do. It's free for everybody. But if you go into the business of start making promises and doing X, Y, and Z, you will be held accountable for those things. It's just that simple. And if it's complicated, just don't make promises. That way we all know. That way when the game is played, we're just gonna keep watching, and then protect the people that sometimes don't have all the information that can easily be susceptible. And that's really where sometimes I draw the line, because those who know, they're always going to be taken care of, but those who don't know, it'll be good to look out for them, because I think that's one of the added greatest value that we as a community have. We don't have to, but we like to care and be a little extra. So I think that's good. And then we just want to continue everything to be positive, more inclusion, more new people are going to come in. But even the new person that comes in, he will be warned, like, hey, we cool, we're friendly, but we know pushovers. We know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And we're going to look out for the community. So if you come to scam, just think twice, because you'll be called out real fast.
Yeah, Cream and I'll say something.
You're welcome.
I saw ChrispyMan unmuted, so he must have something to say, and then Fast Abdul.
No, I was just preparing to say something. I don't know. I don't have anything to say.
Fast?
In regards to the centralized exchanges, I think overall, it would be good if we're on more centralized exchanges. We're already, right now, we're on MEXC, like Pulse is, and that was community funded, right? So the community
Shout
raised
out
money
to people who made that happen. Great job.
Yeah. So the Pulse Chain Foundation, Crypto Coffee, they pushed it. And
Buck
and
Fiat and others donated. Yeah.
Yeah. Big money from lots of the big protocols, including Tufux, actually. But we got that done. But in the future, like when the green candles happen and Hex and Pulse and everything are going up, these exchanges will be incentivized to just buy the tokens off the market like everyone else, as per Franklin in the chat here, because they make fees on people buying and selling on their centralized exchanges. So, if Pulse is moving, $50 million a day back and forth, it will incentivize the exchanges to buy it off the market and just offer it on their centralized exchange, which could be a good on-ramp, off-ramp mechanism for Pulsicans and Hexicans. Use centralized exchanges like outhouses. Get in, get out. Don't hang out there. But I think we will see that. I think we'll see Pulse. I think we'll see Hex, PulseX on Binance, in the next 2 years. I don't see why they wouldn't. They like money.
Yeah.
Right on. And
That's
to call it, let's call it the good behavior too. Fast Abdul talked about the Pulse Chain Foundation, talked about Crypto Coffee. I saw Crypto Coffee go in person and spend a whole crypto conference or two that he attended in person, hunting down centralized exchange representatives and saying, "Come on, man, like let's go, let's do this thing." And I know that made a favorable impression. I've seen KDP go out there and use her huge presence on social media. Havid Hex as well. They're out there doing the public relations and getting, whether it's DMs or public tweets. You see Hexologist and even Hodprol sometimes going after really big accounts and getting millions of impressions, I'm sure, getting the word out. So, and then everybody, even if you just hit the like button and you've never been a streamer and you're not a public figure, when Hexologist is getting 1,500 likes to like bring attention to something, or any of the top X people, that speaks big time and people notice it and it's a big deal. And so thank you.
Yeah. And then what's so cool about what Hexo does too is like he comes in respectfully. He points out something that's like obvious, right? Kind of like an anomaly, but instead of, cursing the people out, it's just more like, hey, listen, this doesn't make sense. You should revisit. And then he say, hey, look at all the people that will come on this thread. And literally, and then the community gets together. Sometimes he ratios some of those tweets too. So it just goes to show. And sometimes it's exchanges. Sometimes it's, big influencer or whatever. Why not? Again, it's free advertising. This is the beauty being on Hex. Why not? But it just kind of brings the awareness that like, yo, it's real. Those people are not bots. Like we actually exist. We are a community. So as an exchange for business, you get to look that. But it's also important to understand that we're not just going to rely on them, so to speak. And we're saying that in a respectful way. It's not being cocky. It's just being real. This is why I like, people like the gentleman we had on board today, people like Fast Abdul, people like that brings that, aggregator that we can make the party, the trading and all this sort of happen elsewhere. We're not just going to sit here and cry, oh my God, Centralized Exchange doesn't want to list us. No, it'll be nice to have them. We'll continue the dialogue. But meanwhile, right, build and they will come. We'll continue to build. We're still going to continue to onboard. It's faster with the centralized exchange, but we're not just going to take the easy way out because sooner or later, we're going to get there even faster. Because once we hit critical velocity, especially on Pulse Chain, guess what? The exchange comes to us. It goes the opposite way. You guys remember Uniswap? Oh, yeah, nobody cares, right? For 6 months, 9 months, we grinded. We made it popular, all this sort of stuff. But the real cool thing about it, we grind. We're the only people there. And then eventually, all of a sudden, everybody's on DEXs now. When 4 or 5 years ago, people were making fun of DEXs, be like, it's clunky, it's this, that, nobody cares. I can do 100,000 transaction over there on the centralized side. But now everybody's on DEXs because that's where you can make the most gains too and have the freedom. So it's like, I love the fact that we're doing everything at a pioneering level. Like what we're doing right now, educating the people, not just taking the easy way out, teaching normal people how to DeFi. It's a very, very hard thing to do. But we bring all this data, all this education, shout out to Crispy, all the stats, everything. Like it's a hard work, but we have the vision. The same way we did the thing 4 years ago. We're not doing this for today. All this thing is going to pay out 2027, 2028, going to 2030. And then as the green candle comes back, like somebody said it best, like you can do thousands of video, but when the green candle comes back, that's when all of a sudden you're a genius. But the cool thing is all that documentation that y'all been doing in the bear market, the education, it really gonna pays off. The same way also, we gotta be careful and remember what Richard used to say, when the money comes back and everything like that, we gotta be careful too, because we're rich, we're wealthy, but let's not go spend respectfully so much money on some dumb shit that we don't really need because somebody's gonna come talk nice to us, make us feel important. Oh, I'm gonna kind of list you. No, because they know we got money. That's why they wanna come. So we gotta make sure we read all the footprints, that it makes sense, that we're not getting finesse, we're getting the same deal like everybody else. We're not all of a sudden, we're gonna list you, but maybe hypothetically the fee is like $500,000, but they're gonna say 2 million, strike our ego, and because we have it, we're just gonna give it to them. No, we should not do that. We should be like, wait a minute, we should renegotiate. Like, no, Like the fee don't change. The reason why I like the Mexi thing is like they didn't pretend to be like, oh, we're free and then we're not. I hate bait and switch like that. That's nasty business. They said, well, this is our process, because I was in the chat learning about it, because I have Mexi they're from Singapore. Great exchange. This is what we usually do. We list everybody, no beef. This is the thing, boom, and then this is the price, and boom. And then now it's like, oh, the dialogue started and ended. There was no double talk. So it's like, all right, cool. We made the decision. All right, let's go. And those are the type of people you want to deal with. So just keep that in mind. Keep up the good work. And then we're moving along. We're moving along very good. And somebody said in the chat, once some of the lawsuit stuff gets closed, I think a big exchange in the US is going to step up. But it's good to, again, start the dialogue right now, because it will happen. It's just a matter of time.
Totally. And I want to shout out to Hex Monkey, $20 super chat. We need centralized exchange listings to onboard newbies for sure. Once they are in Richard Heart coins, they will learn about how it's better to send your coins away from the exchange. Kind of ironic, but real.
Yes. Trojan horse. We just need to get in there. Once we get in there, we educate. Boom. After a cycle, they're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good tool and it's good exposure. So I think if people, if there's a whale watching and you want to donate to this cause, reach out to Crypto Coffee and the Pulse Chain Foundation, because there is a way to get early access to centralized exchanges before they're knocking at our door and begging us to participate. And at which point they can just go buy it off the market like everybody else. But money does help. It is a form of advertising, and it is a good tool, as long as you don't leave your money there and end up in a situation where you could get rugged by the exchange, which has happened many, many, many times.
Exactly. That's why we have to be careful about which exchange to pick, you know what I mean? And then we also have to be careful to make sure the negotiation is done right, the business is done right, so that the hard work of the community and the people donating is not just getting wasted. Again, it's not because we have money that we should waste the money. You know what I mean? Yep. The people that Abdul is talking about are people that genuinely care so much about the community that before they spend a cent, they got to make sure that, hey, we're getting the same deal than everybody else or better. We're not getting, hey, a special treatment, but then you find out it's not a special treatment. They're letting you in, but then they're taxing you heavily. Like, no, that is disgusting, because that basically saying, I don't really like you, but I'm just letting you in because you got money, so I'm going to tax you. Like, no, we got to be careful.
That's the concept behind the Pulse Chain Foundation, which I think is in its infancy, so to speak, and we'll see changes in that. But all the big chains have like some sort of foundation or governing body that's not for profit, that is there to make those kind of deals. So we have some pretty sharp guys, Crypto Coffee included, that are part of that governing body right now. Like, they're not running anything in terms of they can't, they don't have the on and off keys. Nobody does. We're decentralized, but it's just a focal point for business opportunities for the chain itself. Are they well funded? No. There's no $1 million bank account that these guys can draw from. So, which is why with the MEXC listing, they basically drew most of the money from founders on the chain put up for that listing. So, it's a work of love that they're doing. And if somebody wants to donate to something like that, there are avenues. Don't get scammed. Make sure you're talking to the right people, and we can work it out.
Yeah. Another thing what I like about exchange like Mexi, and it's the same thing I forget, it's escaping my head, but there's big exchange like that in South America, and there's also one in Africa as well. It's like those are great long-term ROI because they're relatively inexpensive, because they're not in a quote-unquote top 5, top 8 exchange, so their fees are lower. But make no mistake, they have millions of customers. That's not the beauty about when you go to Asia or whatever, because it's about network effect, right? Like someone said, it's number one. So we can get a good ROI in a sense for the money that we end up spending as a community versus the number of users that we can get overall, especially on Pulse Chain, our cheaper chain, which can help onboard people that have $50, $100. We end up gaining more versus spending, example, $1 million or $2 million big exchange. But then even in the big exchange, the people that end up getting to our ecosystem is a fraction of the people that would get in the other place, because those people are already too bombarded by so many other ads and other coins and other whatever, that by the time we come in, we might be hot for like a week or two. And then you realize you spend all this money. You're hot for, it's like a shitty Super Bowl commercial. You were there, oh my God, Super Bowl. One night you spend $15 million. And then if you're not careful, sometimes you don't even get the money back. You know what I mean? It's like, so that's why we gotta be very, very strategic, because it's not because, big exchange. Sometimes that doesn't mean shit, respectfully.
Those emerging markets you're talking about, like, you could, like, there's lots of people in crypto in like Vietnam and Indonesia where like $50 is a lot of money. $50 will feed you for a month. Yep. But like, those places are growing. It won't always be $50 they have. That same person who has $50 right now who lives in Indonesia could be moving in $200,000 5 years from now. Because like those emerging markets have the potential to boom and do X's just like anything else. And, they could be serious crypto holders in the future. So yeah, the sooner we can capture their minds and provide them opportunities. And I think probably the MEXC thing is onboarding some of those people. I talk to people from, some of those countries sometimes, but more the merrier as far as that goes. We do want to be really careful, like you said, though, Kareem, to make sure that we're only dealing with quality centralized exchanges, because there are some like low levels of the ladder where it's like, are you going to be here tomorrow? I'm not sure. And I wouldn't want my name or the Pulse Chain name anywhere near something like that.
Exactly. Another cool thing about those emerging market, is that a lot of them are very mobile friendly. Like everybody has a phone, very smartphone. They're really good with it. So it's like, this is also easy onboarding, easy downloading the wallet, because now you got the exchange wallet, and then boom, you can download the Pulse Chain wallet, whether it's Internet.io, MetaMask, or whatever it might be. Next thing you know, those people are very, very mobile. So we can onboard also people like that even faster at a relatively lower price. And because the onboarding is done the right way, it's efficient. You got things like the gentleman that came on board and how you help people get free Pulse to get it on board. So now I can say somebody, hey, Kareem, I'm only getting, $50, $100 every month that I can put to invest. That's a great start. But now you're getting $50 in every month or every 2 weeks, and you're getting $48 or $49 value out of that 50. That's really good, because now you get to accumulate, build your little savings account. Now, God forbid, the price do a nice 2, 3, 4, 5x. Next thing you know, you have $1,000 or $2,000, and like Abdul said, like $50 feature for a month. Now you can see the look in their face. I love it. It's just the greatest thing. They're so grateful. Guy has like $2,000-$3,000, and he can feed his family for like 3 years. Yep. And he feel like he made it, like he's financially free. I know it sounds crazy for people to understand this, but like that's how I always say, financial freedom is different based on different people, different lifestyle. Like for those people, 2,000-3,000, and imagine we can onboard like 100,000 people like that easily, just to start. And then
you're actually changing lives. Like if you live in India and you can harvest like 10,000 hex a month off your staking ladder, then that's a serious financial impact even at current prices, right? And like it's like literally like you're feeding people. So and plus like some of these countries have like pretty sketchy governments. Yeah, I'm not commenting on any particular country, but like crypto is a way
freeing the people.
To free the people, to give like minorities or like subjugated people like women and stuff like that who may not have the same control of their finances as they would in like in some other countries. It gives them freedom to manage it themselves.
Obviously, that's a very good point. Some of my best onboards, a lot of them were actually females. People did this, and a lot of the time was they were just wasting the money because nobody taught her how to invest, or they just be like, hey, I just get it, I'll do it and see what happened. And now they're like, you see the look on their face, they turn into little like entrepreneur investors, and then they feel proud in crypto, they're less scared, and then more importantly, once the price start rising and they see how well they've done, they're like, wow, I did that. It's empowered, instead of just buying dumb shit or things you don't really need. Now they all turn into investors, which is why it's really good. And it goes back to what Richard said a long time ago, and this is more of like, first world problem in a way. But when he says, he wants to create a millionaire, that's one of the idea. Because yes, in the first world, to some degree, that's where you kind of need to be financially free. But the cool thing is with the Metcalfe's law, as we onboard those people, if we get to a millionaire, just imagine tens of millions of people are going to have 10,000 to 100,000, because to get to a millionaire and people just kind of not just empty the bag, and the thing just grow as an ecosystem. Next thing you know, those 1 million millionaire can help probably another 1 million to 10 million people who have less, but they're just as financially free, only because they're in separate jurisdiction. Because you with your million is the same thing as somebody having $10,000 that's in a, you know what I mean, emerging country. Just the same.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's, there's a certain lifestyle arbitrage option where it's like, yeah, if you're paying $4,000, $5,000 a month just to be alive, like, well, if you take $5,000 a month to Vietnam, like, you won't be paying that much. You'll have some more money to buy.
Great. You need best life. Vietnam, Thailand, all day. I mean, it's not just that. Even South America, there's some place like really, really nice, great food, healthy, all that stuff, safe. So it's just, again, bringing the tool to the people and then freeing the people. That's why I love this terminology of financial freedom, because it's not dictated by a monetary amount. It's just more that when your monthly expenses and everything that you want to do is taken care of on an automatic basis, and then hopefully even with your stake and your ladders, and you reach that escape velocity, wow. It's a great place to be. Work becomes fun again. You do things because you want to do it, not just because, oh my God, I'm scared to get fired because then I can't feed my family. You know what I mean? It's a different mentality, different spirit. And sometimes you end up doing better at what you do because you're less stressed. When you're less stressed, your performance goes up, Yep.
No,
well put. Good stuff. And I know we're in our last 20 minutes here. I've got pretty much a hard end time here.
No worries. I can talk about charts for a little bit if you want.
And real quick, I want to hear from ChrispyMan. What's going on with the Access to Live token? Because isn't that up like 50% today or something crazy?
No, not unless it happened while we're on stream.
Really?
I don't.
Seriously? Was I looking at the wrong chart or something?
Be interesting to see that. There'd probably be some people happy about that, I bet.
It's up 27% on the 24-hour.
Okay.
Yesterday, there was
Pulse Chain and Pulse X.
I'm looking at Axis Com pair is up 95%.
Okay, Axis Com, Maddie. Axis Com, not Axis USD.
Axis Pulse is up 27%. Okay, I mean, is there nothing going on with Axis? I know we might do a special episode with him, but nobody's told me what that's for yet.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. There is there's a large wallet that we've been watching that has about $2 million worth of ink.
Of what?
Of ink, INC, incentive
yeah.
token.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, this particular individual or group or bot likes to come in and purchase up tokens, and then when the price is very high, dump them. So it's actually moved on to UpX in the last few minutes, and it's been doing other tokens throughout the day. Wrap BTC, the fork copy, etc.
Oh, it's anyway. Rackham then. Rackham.
Well, relax. You don't know that.
He's been talking about that.
Well, yeah, but you don't know that.
Well, wait a minute. What it's doing is it's coming in and it bought COM up, way up, and then dumps it, and then a few transactions dumped it. And bought Access up, and a few transactions.
The reason why I say that very important is because I do know some people, big wallets, that have a lot of ink. Remember the
it could be anybody, but
I know people that have like hundreds of thousands to millions of it. So we don't want to speculate. We don't know. But
yeah,
the point.
So it's going through a whole Rolodex now of tokens, and looking for opportunity to leverage the trades. So that's what's out, or not leverage, but to ratio the trades. Though it doesn't seem to be making any money, but it seems to be wreaking havoc.
Is it doing anything with Scuba Steve? Because Rackham mentioned Rackham shilled Scuba Steve in his RG3 interview. So
hey, at least PulseX getting burned. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Good attitude,
PulseX is getting burned. So, anyways, the reason you see it's not. I mean, certainly there's normal trading and all that stuff going on, but it was up very high. It got dumped very low, and then the market bought it back up, and so now it looks like it's
going to do well things. You know, I mean, I look at it like this: any good token, you should be grateful if a whale just get interested. Now, if you don't know what his plans are, just don't speculate on it. Just understand that hey, he bought a lot. At any time, you could dump a lot. That's just the nature of the business. And then you'll just like a business, your goal should be how do I create more, stickiness so that the whale is less likely to dump. Again, another simple blueprint from Richard Hart. Like, ask yourself how the hell Richard Hart attracted somebody like Godwell. You know what I mean? And then to this day, mine is the little Abdul. What the hell was that? But yeah, that was funny. Anyway, so ask yourself, how did he attract somebody like Godwell? And then obviously people like us also in the community. And then ask yourself, how did he find a way to keep him to stay around this long? You know what I mean? Those are the things, if I were to be a founder or whatever, you guys know I'm never going to create my token because I don't need to. But, I give like free advice. Be like, because if they start doing well and then volume increase overall for the ecosystem, more PulseX gets burned, bonded liquidity do its job, and then everything just rise together. But that should be your goal. Grateful when the well comes in, but ask yourself, it's always like it's on a time-weighted average. You got to keep providing value and stickiness. If not, just like in a stock or whatever, if all of a sudden, like Buffett said it best, we'll buy the coin or the stock based on a certain thesis that the company is doing. The moment that thesis no longer apply, we dump the stock, we move on, we take profit, and then we, what I mean? So that's just the polite way to say it's not good or bad. It's just understanding that money doesn't come for free because you're happy when he pumps it. You got to be ready to, be chill when he dumps it too, because you got to understand. So now if you can get in contact with the whale somehow, find out what he wants, and then make a plan with him, hey, kumbaya, you know what I mean? So again, that'll be my 2 cents on that, because yeah, if you got somebody like Godwell, you're good. You set.
Godwell rocks.
Of course.
Shout out to Godwell.
Agreed.
But the key is, it's not just because he's like, oh my God, he's benevolent, which he is, but it's because the incentive, the smart contract and everything, the security, the vision, like all of that is the reason why he's here. If it was just like some Joe Schmo, regular meme coin, whatever, you know what I mean? The same economic energy, 10,000 ETH on a single market buy and many more years after that, wouldn't that just happen? That's what I want everybody to understand. It's not a coincidence. It's not by luck. Like people who are able to generate that level of value, attract that kind of caliber of individuals or group, because it could be a group, nobody knows. It's like you gotta constantly think about that. How to create value, how to make that value stick, how to understand not to give away the farm right off the bat, how to create something that gives you, delayed gratification, long-term growth, right? You guys heard me many times talk about coins. Like, come on, Cream, this new coin, this, that. And then respectfully, I studied the coin within literally like an hour. I'm like, nope, this is bad. And then they're like, why? And then literally weeks later, the whole thing crashed, because I explained to them that if you give so much value up front, attract new people, you get that early pump. That's good. But then you end up regretting later, because it turns into a pump and dump. And then the new person coming afterwards feels like, where should I get in? I'm basically don't have the same incentive as the new people. I'll never be able to catch up. Price is already too high. And then it kills it. Versus something that attract people, but then has a meat on the bone that's long-term, allow time to do its job, father time to attract more people slowly over time, organic growth. That's what brings that sustainability. Because
with Rackham, there isn't even a bone. Look, if Rackham doesn't behave himself, Richard's going to start twerking again. Okay, so we need to keep everybody in check. Right. Crispy,
hey,
go.
Here's something to make you happy. We only need 900. We only need 999,538 more millionaires.
Is that all?
We hit a million.
That's awesome. Hey, when we do the next double, I want you to bring that chart again. That'll be so
one
much
T-share will be $1 million one day.
Because this math can change really fast as the price rise. It's really, really awesome.
Yeah, it changes every day.
And do we know how many wallets do we know have more than 1 million hex? It would be interesting to have, because I predict one day in the future, obviously, hex will be $1 plus. So it was nice to see how many hex millionaire wallet we have. That kind of give us an idea. So once we get to that dollar hex one day, we can just say we have this many millionaires, just like that.
Look how this changes just by going to a 10x.
Ooh. Oh, you got the whole thing built in already. Look at you, Crispy.
It's just not to $1. You know, so we get at a 10x. At a 10x, we now have 3,000 more.
Wow, look at that.
This is why
exponential growth.
We'll freak out. Yeah.
Do another 10x. See what happens.
I don't have it. I have to add it. I don't have
add a zero.
Yeah, just add
a zero.
Well, yeah. It's different though. Yeah.
Shout out to Susie Q in the chat. That's a cute comment. Yes, that is sticky enough. Rolling in honey. That's it. You keep the whale fat and happy. They don't go nowhere. and then chances are they want to help the ecosystem. That's another cool thing. Again, point to make. God will. He made so much. Love the community. What did he start doing? Right, he sacrificed a bunch of different things.
What do you think the percentage of people are that make it to be a millionaire that actually give back, like in the real world, not in crypto? Well, I shouldn't say give back, but who do what you're talking about? What do you think?
I would say this, right? Because not to go too philosophical, but it's a little long-winded, but please bear with me, right? It's a combination of multiple factors.
And never long-winded.
Number one is this. 3 factors. Very simple. Because I believe there's more good than bad in this world. But unfortunately, again, everybody knows negativity spread much faster than positivity. It's kind of like you can have like 95% good people, 5% bad people. The 5% bad people who make more noise, and you will think that everything is mainly bad, when in reality it's the opposite. It's mainly good, only 5% is bad. Now, that being said, when the person get to that millionaire status, so to speak, it depends on the situation the person was in. If you're somebody that was already in debt, let's say tremendously debt, whatever, you might have reached that million, but technically you forced to like cash out, pay stuff, this, that, and the third, and you end up with almost nothing. Versus somebody that's close to debt free or didn't have a lot of debt when he gets to that million. Now he actually has extra that he can use. So it depends on the person's circumstances, which we do not know. Not every money is equal. The same way I've seen people, I use this analogy all the time. I used to meet people that make $20,000 a month, but then their lifestyle, they spend $21,000 a month. So they're still in debt and poor. And at any time, they paycheck to paycheck and they can lose their job. And then I know people who make literally $3,000 a month, but they live happy because they have, their discretionary income and their bills are a certain way. And then they have a certain lifestyle that they like and that they do. So all those things matter. And then the final factor will be, just remember, money is an amplifier of who you really are. If you're somebody that's, respectfully, you're a douchebag, you're this, that, you manipulate bad things, money's just going to amplify that and the ego and all sort of stuff. If you have already been a giver and you're helping people, even when you had $10 and you're out there with the community doing shit for free, the moment you got that million, chances are you're going to give back more. So
there's some number of people, I don't know, but what the percentage might be, right? But when we talk about our community in particular, I think there's a higher number of people.
Yes, definitely, because we attract those good people. That's a good point.
I think that's true.
Richard Hart brought those that's why I call the Richard Hart ethos, like all those checkpoints, right? Like the fact that we're not just here. Yeah, Matt Gaines, very smart. We are one of the smartest community, right? Because Richard also is very smart. And then people who are smart are attracted to other smart people because when they talk, you want to listen. You want to come say, yeah, what does this guy know? And then you want to do business with them. It's the same thing. Then you got the benevolence, right? The giving back. That's important. People that want to give back, they get attracted by that. People that, we talk about longevity and sci-fi, all sort of stuff. People get attracted to that. So the fact that he had that root and then the honesty, the disclosure. So, you can be real, you can be a business person, you can be cutthroat, but if you do everything honestly and ethically and you disclose, then life is good. And then freedom and all sort of stuff. And then he was able to attract these type of people.
Yeah.
At a higher level, we get less of the negative, rich, narcissist, not going to help the community type of person. And that's why the aura, kind of like the pendulum, it helps because the like-minded people comes in and kind of like an attraction and a law of attraction. People who are opposite to that, they get like, they get put off. They don't come close to us. They're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I can't scam. Oh, I can't come and manipulate and do this and flip and dump people's head. Well, no, I'd rather go do that over there. I'm going to go play over there.
I want to make sure Crispy got to finish his point, and then Fast Abdul has a screen to share as we wrap up here.
Nice.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you, Kareem, a lot of the comments you're making. I just think we have, no illusions. Obviously, there'll be some people pull the cord and drop. But I do think that in the Hex ecosystem, we had and have this opportunity where there'll be a great many people who will just stick around. Well, a lot of them have to.
Exactly.
and so they because they're staked in. But when we see multi-dollar hacks and their rungs are coming out, I expect that many of them will choose to stay. But I'll just leave it at that for now.
Because they'll realize what we already realized. Some people, they just, paranoid in their own head. Once the money really, really realizes and comes, they're going to realize that some of those fear that they have was just in their head. It's like they'll say, oh, the money's going to disappear. And then you realize the money doesn't disappear. And then you realize that, oh, you're actually financially free. It's like, perfect example I use all the time. My friend that has a $1.5 million, but he's like, Kareem, I need to swap, I need to trade, I need to do all this thing. I can't just stake and chill because I need all this thing to try. And I'm like, bro, you never done the math. Relax. Like, you don't need that much. Trust me, I have done it. So it's like, and then I sat him down and then we did the whole thing. Nice apartment, high rise, traveling, party, this, that, and the third. And he only, excuse my French, it only turns out to about roughly $25,000 a month. And then we show a program how you can stake, do a ladder and this, that. He had about 3 million at the time. And then we show him how with the combination of liquidity farming and definitely staking and rotation stake, you can generate that 30,000 that you need, and then your lifestyle is good. And then you realize, I don't need to be stressed anymore and trade, because everybody here knows you got this much money. You better be careful when you trade, because with the fees, slippage, you do the wrong thing, you can lose 100K in a day just on a bad trade. And you realize, oh, I was just stressed for no reason, because he never sat down, he never done the math. He just insinuated in his head, I'm going to do all these fancy things. It's going to cost a lot of money. Never wrote it down, so he don't know what he needs to do. Once I sat him down, I showed him the whole thing. Now, all of a sudden, staking and ladder, liquidity farming, it makes perfect sense now, because he's no longer worried about making millions of dollars. His goal now is what? Make the $20,000 to $30,000 a month. Once he has that,
points. Good. What do you have to share, Fast Abdul?
I have a Pulse Chain tech update.
Nice.
This is a new protocol that's live on the Pulse Chain. It's called Vouch. It's a fork of Staffy, which is a liquid staking protocol. So like on Ethereum, there's Rockapool, Lido, DAO, Staffy, and 3 or 4 others where you're staking Ethereum in a liquid way. This is the same for Pulse. So basically, instead of needing 32 million Pulse to run a validator, you can run a portion of a validator more or less via this protocol with as little as 10,000 Pulse. You can basically stake your single-threaded stake your Pulse inside the protocol. It's not like a huge payout on what you make. It's because it's via the validator service that is native to Pulse Chain. So right now it says 6.27% APR to liquid stake. But the real benefit of these protocols is that it gives you a token back. So you put in I put in 10,000 Pulse and I get back 9,947 VPLS. And then to unstake, I can put my VPLS back in and it gives me back Pulse, right? Now VPLS, because it's validator Pulse, it's making money. And so it's always worth a little bit more than Pulse. And that number will continue to grow, but at a very slow rate. But it gives opportunities for the Pulse chain for, just like on Ethereum, a lot of the money is being farming ETH against ETH. Like you can farm ETH against ST ETH against VETH, like from these different protocols. We now have that option on the Pulse chain. So this is like, I'm not telling anybody to use this. I just want people to know it's there. This is sort of a benchmark item for the Pulse chain as far as we're maturing. We have a liquid staking option. Some of the biggest protocols on ETH revolve around this concept. It's audited and all that sort of thing. And the founder's name is Jaxa. He's a very known character on the Pulse chain. He worked with liquid loans in the past, I believe. So I think it's something people should pay attention to. And you should be aware that because this is here, this is something where we're starting to check all the boxes for what's on Ethereum is on Pulse chain. And this is one of the bigger development bites to bite off. Like this is not light lifting. This is heavy lifting. Not every team could have pulled this off. So I just wanted to shout out.
EVM compatible. It's good.
Yeah. What's the website?
Vouch.run.
Okay.
I got
It's
a
on
question for you.
RUN.
What's the timeline between? I know it says liquid, but like between the stake and the unstake. If somebody were to use that, can we talk about a little bit breakdown? Like,
I think it tells us right here actually. If I go to unstake and like let's say
1 to
whenever
5 days?
And we have like 1 minute left to explain this.
1 to 5 days to get your pulse back, but you can also market trade it, and there's arbitrage opportunities there. So you can
And what's
get it back
the
in a
fee?
second.
It looks like it's not 1-to-1. You put 10,000 pulse, and then you got 9,000 V pulse. You got less.
That's because V pulse is worth more than pulse, and will continue to be worth slightly more than pulse.
Yes, because you get the yield.
APR, right?
Okay. So I guess we need to run the analysis to find out how long, minimum number of days somebody need to stake in order to then get at least more than break even. Because if somebody, let's say, stake for a day or two, and then now all of a sudden he got less V pulse, right? And by the time he goes back to pulse, then he get less.
I think it'd be pretty much. I'm not going to say guaranteed, but it'd be like, yeah, you would get your money back in 5 days. It's not a high risk choice in my opinion. And if you were farming pulse versus pulse in the meantime and making additional APR, it could be a big win.
Okay, and the last thing, I guess, in the future, what you're telling me is that there's going to be new pools spin out with the V pulse, because then people won't have to. They'll just take that new coin and go farm with it.
Oh, Kareem, there already are new pools.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
I'm on it. Don't worry, man.
Yeah. No.
Beautiful.
I'm sure.
Well, let's find out more next time we meet and see how things are going with that new protocol, vouch. VOUCH.RUN from JAXA. Love it. So we covered a lot of tech today. Another great episode thanks to my co-hosts here. Where can people find you? And then I'll give the final vote numbers of where we're at with people pledging to do a Quattro Cinco on December 2nd. Crispy.
You just want to know where I'm from, right? Hexfire.io.
Kareem.
Yeah, a few things. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Yo Magic, or Instagram, Kareem Crypto Quattro Cinco on IG. One thing, Matty, real quick, just because we didn't get to talk about our charts today, but again, we're gonna have a great week this week. I think this is the week or before the end of the month. Bitcoin might make a test to the 100K, and I think this is where we're making our run. Ethereum probably 3,500 and follow up, but I'm very bullish that our ecosystem, by the time Hex birthday, we could be another 50% from here. So the breakouts are happening. Pulse, and Ink just been catching up on what Hex has been doing. So the chart looks very similar. Only liquidity is doing its thing. And get ready, because the higher we go, the faster we can go, because liquidity gets lower and lower. So the pumps gets faster and faster. So keep an eye on that. Stack some sats. Enjoy yourself. We'll see you next week.
Hell yeah. Fast Abdul.
Yo, you can find me via 2phux.io as displayed on the screen. I am also available on Twitter and Telegram, various other formats. I'll be around.
Awesome. And thanks again to our guests, Pulse Domains _ on Twitter, also known as PulseSwap.io. And let's see. So far, just in the past hour and 20 minutes or something, we've had 73% of people on Twitter out of 162 votes say that they would participate in the Quattro Cinco, which is 113.
Let's see.
Quick math, 113 already.
Think we've got what it takes. So get out there, retweet that, like, comment on the Quattro Cinco tweet I put out that I just linked in the chat, because that'll help get the word out. And until next time,
everybody in the chat, thank you for coming. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
See everybody.
Hit the like and subscribe. And until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.